This is El Camino Real Field in Woodland Hills, California. Our site tonight for Royals football as El Camino Real, the Royals, take on the Coyotes from Calabasas. Hello, everybody. My name is Randy Rosenblum, set to call the play-by-play. This is Paul Zabalik. These are two teams looking to get moving forward that have struggled early in the preseason. ECR's 0-3 against a very rugged schedule. Calabasas is 1-2. They have a nice victory, however, against a good Birmingham team, so they're 1-2. That win over the Patriots. Of course, the Patriots are the defending LA City section champions. So, Paul, interesting matchup here. Indeed, these are two squads looking to improve.
Absolutely, Randy. And what you basically have are two teams with similar offenses. They run different schemes on defense, but yet they look almost identical. They've got players who are very talented at different skill positions, and it's going to be interesting to see which one stands above the other tonight.
Calabasas is defensive-oriented, and number 58 on that defensive front is Kalen Miller. He's a terrific pass rusher.
Yeah, Kalen is definitely a potential. He's got quickness off the ball. He's got strength up inside, and he moves very well. His feet demonstrate that he's got quickness, and he's got the strength also to be able to stand up against the run.
He'll be chasing the quarterback tonight of ECR. That's Ryan Feinberg. We saw him last year, but we understand he's mightily improved.
Big time. Ryan has come a long way in developing his skill set. He's learned the offense that Coach Zabalik has been able to introduce. It's a very high-intensity spread offense, and Ryan has been able to adapt it to very well, and hopefully he can start really moving outside the pocket tonight.
ECR looking to improve. They think they can win the West Valley League Championship because they played such a grueling schedule. They believe it'll get them ready for West Valley League action. But tonight, the task at hand is Calabasas. It's the Coyotes and the Royals. That's next. The kickoff on LA36.
Not bad for a rookie.
In white, the Coyotes of Calabasas. They won the toss, but they deferred. So they're going to kick off the football to the blue-clad football team from ECR. El Camino Real's had a good offensive football team this season. I think that's probably a good note for the Royals that they're going to see the football first.
Well, it's going to be a good test to see if they can sustain a drive. Just move it downfield like they did last week. They were able to gain yardage, and they were able to put points on the board.
Luke Peffer drops back deep. He's returned to kickoff this year for a Royals touchdown, just a junior. He's back deep, along with Sam Tobin. There's our officiating crew led by Mark Milsom tonight. Stepanovsky has it teed up at the 40-yard line, and we're set for ECR football 2021 on LA36. Tobin picks it up. Sam to the near side. And he's hit and dropped.
When you look at that kickoff, you're going to get looking at how they drop the ball, and sometimes that delay gives a chance for certain blocks to be set up, but it didn't happen that time.
First look at quarterback Ryan Feinberg. Now, he's a dual threat. He can throw the football, and he certainly can run it.
Yeah, he can, and it's, again, hoping that he can start moving out of the pocket and, again, introduce a new dimension to that offense.
Big offensive front, 77, Anderson Barrios, the senior up front. There are key players. Troy Spellman they love. He'll also run with the football. Cameron Dover on the outside is electric. Spellman for good yardage.
Excellent. They ran inside against that three-man front, and Coach Zabalik had indicated that that's what they're going to try to do, is to get some real strong running inside.
First down at the 30-yard line, and a good start with that offensive front led by Barrios, clearing a path for Spellman.
Again, you got a pretty young offensive line, and they're really learning the schemes and the zone techniques.
Royals football. Remember last year they were the Conquistadors, but now officially the Royals. Delayed handoff, and the Coyotes were not fooled. Steven Russo came up to make the stop.
The linebackers came up real quickly and were able to make that stop.
Troy Spellman is an outstanding athlete, isn't he?
Yeah, he's basically a 2-3 sport athlete and baseball player, and he's probably one of the key players on the team.
2nd down and 8. They stay on the ground, and it's Spellman again out to the 36-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 4.
He's got some power inside between the tackles, and he demonstrates that athletic ability. He's able to move quickly side to side, and he can accelerate once in the open field.
Fleet-footed Antonio Diaz, a junior wide receiver, has checked in for the Royals. Officials timeout for the moment.
All right, line them up, Bob. Here we go. Ball game, fellas. 3rd down.
Luke Peffer came off the field, and I think he's okay. Hobbled a little bit, but he appears to be sitting up, and they'll attend to Peffer, and he's a multi-dimensional player for the Royals, goes both ways, and out in the flat, Calabasas covering beautifully. No running room at all for Dover. He was greeted and hit hard at the point of attack, and it's going to be a 4th down and about 4 to go for ECR, and the Royals have another player down.
Yeah, the corner came up real fast on that, read it well, and was able to jump on it.
Beautiful effort on the outside by Calvin Conley, one of the captains. Unfortunately, ECR has a man down. Just the first 2.5 minutes of the ball game. Coyotes are a good defensive football team. They run to the ball. Their goal tonight, offensively, when I was talking to their head coach, Kerry Harris, in his 2nd year, is to open it up a little bit. They've run it effectively at times, but they haven't been able to throw it very well.
Right, against stronger teams that are running different secondary schemes, they've had some difficulty making completions.
Ariel Guerrero is the young man being helped to the sideline for ECR. Good crowd on hand, and we've seen that at all the athletic events at all levels. Fans just want to participate now that they're able to come back to the games. And El Camino Real has done a good job here telling the fans, wear a mask, socially distanced, but still in all, we got a good crowd.
Yeah, they've been waiting for this for about a year and a half.
So the Royals will relinquish the football. Beautiful punt. Miller retreating. This is King Miller, and he is dangerous. King Miller near side.
Clip.
Miller is gone.
Where's the trainer?
Now, I did not see a flag down. You thought there was a clipping foul. Beautiful run, however, by King Miller.
It was very good. I mean, definitely has the speed and breakaway ability, and he will be a threat.
Kalen Miller, who we featured on the pregame show, is his younger brother by 1 minute. They're twins,
Illegal
obviously.
block in the back on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of foul. 1st down.
Well, you thought it was a clip, but it was an illegal block. Either way, the touchdown comes back.
In the old days, we called that a clipping penalty. Today, it's a block in the back. Yeah, again, you see his ability to break away. He reads the blocks, and he cuts to the outside. And right here, you'll see the block in the back, and it's going to nullify the run. It was a great effort by Miller.
King's got a couple touchdowns already this year for the Coyotes, but because of the illegal block, Calabasas will start from its 48-yard line. So still in all, good field position. Russo is the quarterback. And Russo will run with it. Across the 50, inside the 45, and a pickup of 8 yards, and Peffer's back in.
Yep.
And Peffer's the one who knocked him down.
Yep. Peffer is the hitter on the team. He's been recognized as the one that's going to come up and make the play. Again, the quarterback did a great job reading that and was able to keep it on the option and get around outside.
Here are the key players for Calabasas. We've already seen King Miller. By the way, there was a foul against ECR that's going to cost him, and Calabasas will have a 1st down. But Watch out for number 1 Aaron Butler. He is electric.
Yes, he is. And again, that's the speed that they're looking for, and once they get in the open field, there's pretty much hard to stop.
Boy, that flips the field position with the penalty. Ball's on the ground.
Looks like Calabasas recovering.
Yeah, Russo able to fall back on the pigskin. Calabasas very fortunate.
Yeah, it was just a missed handoff, and it just didn't happen, and dropped the ball.
Russo with very quick reactions to get to that pigskin. Debo Wilson is in that backfield, number 13 for the Coyotes. Under second-year head coach Kerry Harris, who had a great career at USC out of Notre Dame High School in the Valley. Again, Russo up the middle. Peffer drags him down, but another nice effort by the quarterback of Calabasas.
Yeah, there was an inside trap, and the guard made the play, and the running back was able to cut off the block and gain some good yardage.
It'll bring up a third down and still about 4.
Yep. When you look at this, you see that their offensive line moves a lot. They've got different kinds of skill set in the offensive guards in the center. They pull their center at times.
Timeout on the field again. Peffer struggling physically coming off. I believe he's cramping up, and that's why he's coming out. And again, that hurts them because he's one of their leading tacklers at ECR.
Yeah, he's the man that's going to be in most of the plays.
Hand off. No running room for Debo Wilson.
Matter of fact, he lost a yard.
You know that Calabasas would like to capitalize on this field position.
Well, they've been running the ball inside very well, so my guess is they're going to try to keep it on the ground and see if they can get that extra 3 yards.
4th down.
Oh.
It appeared that the Royals were offside, and that will give Calabasas a first down.
5-yard penalty. The result is a first down.
Well, those are the kind of mistakes you can ill afford.
Oh, that's, again, you have them with 4th and 3, and you just gave it to them with an offsides penalty.
Fresh set of downs for Calabasas. And again, you just wonder when they're going to try to incorporate Aaron Butler, the wide receiver, in their offense. And at times he's been their quarterback this year. Russo will throw for Miller.
Made it.
Touchdown. King Miller.
Yeah, there's your wide receiver. That skill and ability to get into the air and grab the ball at the top of the trajectory and score the touchdown.
Beautiful throw by Russo. And again, that's exactly what Calabasas wanted to do tonight. They wanted to establish that they could indeed throw the pigskin.
Exactly right. And it's the run game earlier that set up the pass. They were able to move the ball. They were able to get yardage.
Stepanowski, the junior placement specialist, the 6'2 junior, is on. Looking to make it 7-0. 6:50 left, opening quarter. It's a 7-0 advantage for the Coyotes. What are you looking for here from ECR to try to bounce back after we take a look at this beautiful touchdown? I want you to answer that. But first, break down this touchdown throw into the corner.
All it is just a fade into the corner, and Miller was able to make the break, and the ball was thrown perfectly for him to catch it.
All right, what about the Royals? How do you bounce back from the early domination of Calabasas?
Well, what ECR has to do is start developing their ground game. They do have power inside. They've got the ability to run the ball between the tackles, and they should be able to sustain that down the field without making those mistakes. The inside passes will open up in the intermediate areas in the center of the field if that run game continues.
Well, it's been a busy early evening for the kickoff man, Sean Stepanowski. Nine has it teed up again. Let's see if we can get a good return for ECR. Lights are on at El Camino Real Field. Beautiful neck of the woods in Woodland Hills. Stadium aligned by trees, sitting on a gorgeous sunset in the valley. This one is returnable, but once you fall down like that, play is over.
Yeah, ECR has been challenged with special teams this season so far, and they've got a lot to work on with getting the ball into some definite areas and working again to get that special teams kick in place.
Yeah, no one touched Troy Spellman. He just fell on his own. The turf monster got him. We are playing on the turf. Well, we saw Calabasas get some balance with the passing game. We'll see if El Camino Real can open it up a little bit. Again, this offense has been productive in recent weeks. They were very good a week ago. They were just outscored by Harvard Westlake.
Yeah, well, again, there's been gaining yards in the air and again on the ground, but they've been able to.
Harvard Westlake beat them a week ago, 49-35. They'll be content to run the ball.
That's again when you.
Well, Kalen Miller, who we spotlighted, right there to deny Spellman.
Right. Well, Spellman's running inside and he's running hard, and it's taken 2 or 3 people to bring him down. He's got that ability to stay strong.
6 minutes and 20 seconds of playing time remain.
Again,
opening quarter.
They've been able to get 5 yards at a crack on the ground. They've just got to sustain that.
See if Feinberg opens it up. Quick pitch, Spellman giving ground. He's in trouble. You know who's there? The Butler, Aaron Butler.
Yep. Again, he's the one who comes up and makes the play. Again, by reading what the offensive line is doing, you're able to see where the receiver and the running back will be.
Well, we talked about Aaron Butler on offense, Aaron Butler on defense. Very good against the run in that secondary.
Absolutely. He definitely has the skill set that we were looking at.
It's 3rd down and still 9 for the Royals. We're not going to hide the fact we're working tonight with Paul Zabalik, the father of the head coach of El Camino Real. I know you're excited. You're going to have a nice chat with your son at intermission.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Feinberg. He's a capable runner, but he's sealed off on the edge. That's great defense from Calabasas.
Yep.
Again, oh, you had to love that. That's terrific work.
Feinberg has to be able to get out of the pocket, and he's got to be able to move, and it's going to offer that dimension that they haven't had in the past. Again, it's going to give them that inside run if he can move and take those corners and lock them in place.
Drifting back is Butler to return. Well, that's twice now the Royals have had the football, and they haven't had much success. Had one nice run from Spellman in their first possession, but after that, Calabasas' defense, which is very good.
Well, again, if you notice what happened, they had 2 different plays, 2 different kind of schemes. If they would have stayed inside the tackles, they might have been able to gain more yardage.
High end over end kick. Butler fields it, muffs it. Opportunity for ECR. They have the football. Coming up with the pigskin is Caden Zakowski, a young man who always seems to make plays.
Big play down there, and again, it was an error on the receiver.
You don't see Butler make these kind of mistakes often, but he was fooled. Maybe he lost it in the sun or in the lights or something. You see him waving there.
Yeah, well, he just misread it. And,
that was Miller, actually, that misread it.
Yes, number 10. Which is surprising because he normally doesn't make those kind of mistakes.
Well, let's see if El Camino Real can capitalize.
So again, if they can stay inside the tackles, I think you're going to see a better ground game because, again, they're looking at the 2 ends that are boxing out and that those linebackers are not quick to fill in tight.
Colin Ermita, junior running back, dynamic in space, has the football. His first carry, trying to bounce to the outside, and does. A fine effort from Colin Ermita of ECR. Yeah. However, there's a flag down, as you can see. We saw Colin Ermita a year ago for El Camino Real, and he had flashes. He had some big moments
A couple missed tackles on that. They might have had him for a loss.
15 yards from the end of the run, first down. Personal foul, horse collar on the defense. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
Okay. This is exactly what we were talking about. Again, if he can get outside and they can do those kinds of different techniques, he might be able to break it outside.
Takes it down to the 24-yard line. Didn't we used to work together? Didn't we do a game like the Daily News game a few years ago? About 5-6 years ago, right?
I think it was 34 years ago.
I think you're probably right. But we're not supposed to, drop the year.
We're not going to tell anybody how old we are.
No, not I. Play fake, throw, open target. Spellman to the goal line. Spellman has an ECR touchdown.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. That inside zone is wide open behind the linebackers. They threw it underneath, and it was wide open.
So with 3:53 left in the opening quarter, Feinberg to Spellman brings the Royals to within one. Now, El Camino's got a terrific placement specialist in Asa Johnson. They feel very good about their kicking game. Spellman will hold. Well, that's a nice response for the Royals, and they got a break on the Miller muff.
Exactly right. And you take advantage of those errors, and that's what keeps you really starting with the momentum.
You can see the leg strength of Asa Johnson.
And as we talked about earlier, these teams are pretty well evenly matched.
Feinberg got this ball out of there in a hurry.
Watch where he's throwing it, right in the center of the field. That zone is there open right behind the linebackers.
Well, that sideline a little bit more enthusiastic. Hungry football team in Woodland Hills. They've improved. The offense is scoring, but
this is one
quite haven't gotten a victory. But again, they're playing a very difficult schedule.
They are. I mean, it's probably one of the toughest in the city. And, again, they're meeting the challenge. Each week they're getting better and stronger. It's the mistakes that have hurt them in the past, the offsides, the penalties, killing drives, and they can overcome that. They'll win some ball games. A young team, Randy.
Certainly are. It's tough, and I know your son is trying to build the program, and he's doing it patiently. He's hearing all the time how tough the schedule is, but he's looking for the West Valley League season because he thinks he can do real damage already this year. Forget the record. If they win the league or win some games in the league, they're going to be a playoff team.
Well, it's going to take some time to build it, and again, it is block by block. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen as they develop.
Chavez kicking off, and this one's blown dead. There's Jason Zabalik, and I know you're proud of him.
Absolutely. I am a proud dad. I've watched his career, and he's in the right place at this program. He is El Camino, and he should be here a long time.
How's he handling setbacks? I know every coach wants to win. There's no secret about wanting to win football games. But how's your son handling the fact that it's taken some time? And by the way, we're on camera now, so you can look at the camera.
Okay, well, again, I don't know if they want to see me.
No,
but
they want to see you.
The fact that he's been able to deal with the adversity, he's had a lot of adversity in his career and his personal life. He's been injured and he's recovered. He knows what it takes to stay in it. He knows what it takes to get back into it and bounce back. And he's a resilient guy, and he deals it with one day at a time.
Chavez has got a good leg. This is returnable, however. Near side, Russo has a lot of room and a terrific return to the 49-yard line of Calabasas. There's Russo. He's a quarterback who can really run. How often do you see the quarterback returning kicks?
Well, again, El Camino has some issues with their special teams, and if they could get that fixed, they'll be a lot better, and they won't give up that yardage up to the 50-yard line on kickoffs. They got to work on that. That's one of the issues that they spent some time on.
How you liking this broadcast thing again? It's been a while, but you're enjoying this?
Well, I enjoy working with you, Randy. It's fun always. 34 years ago, it was fun.
Again, you brought that up. I'm telling you, it was 6 or 7 years ago.
It's a real pleasure being here with you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on hand. And your interview with your son and half, we pre-recorded it. Well, you at home, you're going to want to watch it. It's a fun interview. And here goes the Butler on the outside. Those are the quick wills of Aaron Butler, the sophomore, who's so versatile, plays so many positions. And when you talk to the coaching staff at Calabasas and Kerry Harris, he just says, number one, wants to be great.
Yeah, well, he's demonstrating that. He's getting into the open field. He's been able to make certain cuts and to show his athletic ability. He is a player.
Gains 8, 2nd and 2.
Again, when you look at their offensive line, they're doing different things with their guard. They even pull their center at times.
There's Russo again, the quarterback, doing damage.
Yep, they pulled both guards, backside tackle and guard, and opened a big hole.
Boy, he's quick with the ball.
Yep.
You know, he's not normally going to hurt you in the air, although threw a beautiful pass to Miller for the touchdown. But watch his quickness here.
Right. Again, you see both backside linemen pulling and just filling, and picking up linemen on their way.
The Coyotes are on the prowl. Chris Flores, very quick defensive lineman, made the stop. We have a timeout. Calabasas is on the prowl late in the opening quarter in a 7-7 draw.
Again, you look at El Camino's front. They're a four-man front, and versus Calabasas' 3-man front. They put a lot more faith in their linebackers at Calabasas, but they expect the 4-man front to be able to at least stop those moving, pulling guards and tackles.
Well, there's no question that this quarterback, Russo, is a capable runner, and I would think on that ECR side, when they get into the locker room, they're going to have to find a way to slow him down, because those run options are really hurting El Camino.
Right, and you see him read it, and he's given it his first read.
And again, same play. There he goes.
Yep.
There's no secret to the run option. He's just looking for a hole, and if someone comes up, he can pitch it.
Yeah, but he's reading that tackle, and if the tackle goes out, he's going to keep it and go inside.
The read option run by number 5 has been spectacular in the opening quarter for Calabasas. 2.5 minutes to play. 7-7 ball game, but the Coyotes are just outside the red zone. They're tickling the red zone at the 21. Steven Russo throwing for the end zone. Incomplete.
Now, see, that's surprising. They've been moving the ball on the ground, and then they go to the air. You would think that they would stay consistent and just pound the ball downfield.
He wanted Matt Hassan. Good coverage on the back end from Sam Tovin.
Yep, they were able to go ahead and pick that receiver up. Again, they've had issues with that first couple of games, but he was able to be there, and unfortunately, it was a bad throw. Threw it underneath.
3rd and 3 for the Coyotes.
Again, they pulled the center.
Butler has a first down and a lot more. That running game is doing well. You got to give credit to the men up front, because they're clearing them out.
Well, again, if you look at the scheme, if you see the replay on this, you've got number 50 pulling, and again, that's a D1 offensive line move.
That's Nolan Wilson, the center, 6'2", 275-pounder, the leader, 2-year veteran up front. Butler bouncing outside. Goes inside the 5-yard line. Ball came out, but he was down. Sam Tovin has been very active, 36 on defense for the Royals.
Yep. Again, he's been all over the field, and he has to be, because Calabasas is spreading that defense out, and you're going to see him move from sideline to sideline.
Down to 1:15 left opening quarter. 2nd down at 5. Looking for a touchdown is number 5. Russo, senior quarterback, very smart, has a 4.0 GPA. Butler weaving and scoring.
There it is.
Aaron Butler in Calabasas jumps back out in front.
Yeah, he had the hole. He was able to read it, and again, there were good blocks. They blocked out, and he was able to go inside and score the touchdown easily. He could have walked in. Number 50 again made a great block on 73 and opened the hole.
Nolan Wilson has been dominant up front. A kick-out block against George Rivera. Stepanowski chips that one away and just had enough. 14-7 inside of a minute to play in the opening quarter. And let's look at the Butler touchdown.
There it is. And again, you saw his ability to cut left and to get into the open area. Very talented.
Well, there's no question that the Royals offensively are getting there. Defensively has been an issue. They lost 45-0 to Cathedral. That's a very good program, but they gave up 55 to Pasadena and 49 to Harvard Westlake. That's an issue where they're going to have to stop some of that if they're going to do well, and they think they can do well in the West Valley League.
Well, again, when you're playing that kind of a schedule and you're playing those dominant teams, they're going to throw the ball and they're going to put it up, and El Camino has some real solid work to do in the secondary.
It's not going to get any easier. After a bye, they got to go to Banning, one of the top programs right now, ranked number 2 in the LA section behind San Pedro. So that's going to be a difficult assignment.
Yes, it is.
Good teams in the city this year. Palisades has been surprising. Eagle Rock's undefeated coming into tonight's play. Southeast. Here's Toven up the field, showing his quickness.
Again, they get into the open field, they can make some yardage, and they get the blocks downfield, but they're not catching the ball on the run. The ball's dropped, and they've got to pick it up and look again. So, again, special teams need some work.
It's interesting. A year ago, we weren't calling them by a nickname because we knew they were going to change names, and they were the Conquistadors, and that was going to be pushed out. So we called them ECR, we called them Elko. It's kind of fun to have a nickname attached now. That's great.
Yep.
Here's a run up the middle. Good blocking up front. Some excellent yardage. And that's the kind of running that I know your son loves to see, physical play. And that had to be Bueno carrying the ball because he's a big physical guy, and it was Bueno with it. He moves the pile.
And again, if they keep running it inside the tackles, you're going to start seeing these kinds of gains, and they're going to be able to sustain drives.
See, we're inside of 30 seconds. Robin Bueno, number 8, is a hard hitter on defense, but he's a downhill runner on offense, and he gives a different style. He's a different kind of guy in that backfield.
Well, he's 210 pounds, and he's a junior, and he's going to really get stronger.
See if they snap the ball in the final seconds of the quarter, and they will not. So after one, Calabasas with a touchdown in the air and on the ground. Feinberg's thrown a TD to Spellman in the first quarter. We're going to move into the second quarter in a 14-7 game for Calabasas. Again, Calabasas, if you look at their record, we take a closer inspection. They opened up the season beating Birmingham 20-13, lost to Lusinger 22-7, and were obliterated last week by Simi Valley. But the Pioneers have a terrific
Very
football
good team.
team.
Again, that's a team that's been building over the last couple of years.
Yeah, 51-7. Yeah, Jim Bankert, who was the great coach at Westlake, is now out at Simi Valley, and he's got them going well. I'm going to take you back for a highlight from the opening quarter. Touchdown to King Miller. It was a beauty.
Yeah, again, that ball was thrown perfectly, and Miller was wide open. Again, he did just a corner route and a fade route, and he was wide open.
There's Feinberg's toss to Spellman.
And again, the middle of the field is wide open for Elko if they can throw the ball on a consistent basis. If that run game, they set it up, they're going to start drawing those linebackers in, and that center of the field will be wide open for Feinberg.
There's the Butler score to give the Coyotes the lead.
Yeah, they got to keep running inside number 58, Kalen Miller. If they can keep him on the edge and run inside of him, they'll gain some yardage. See, he was right there.
Power inside again with Bueno, but he was met at the point of attack.
By Kalen Miller. Kalen Miller slanted down inside, and they didn't read it right, and running back ran right into Kalen Miller, and he made the play.
Bring up a 3rd down and 3. Spellman checking back in. Santana Sakai goes out for ECR. See if that offensive line can get a nice push.
This has been a real issue for ECR so far this season. It's 3rd down and short yardage. They've got to be able to convert these.
Guys like Derbeshian up front. Vladimir Derbeshian, 6'1", 260-pound junior. There's some size again at ECR, but they're young. Quick one to Spellman, and he has room. Spellman to the 49 of Calabasas, and a 1st down.
Exactly. Spellman is, again, he's the athlete on that team, and he just makes stuff happen.
Again, Feinberg doing a nice job of getting that ball out quickly. If you saw Tom Brady in that terrific game against Dallas, how quickly he gets the ball out. I'm not comparing Ryan Feinberg to Tom Brady, but that's why Brady's so great, because he gets it out so fast. Feinberg is doing that. He's getting that pass out in a hurry and finding the windows.
This is one of those areas of improvement we were just talking about with Feinberg. Over that time, he's been able to develop that set.
1st down, see if ECR can tie. Uh-oh, it's going back the other way and an interception.
Wow.
Falling down, making the great play was Pekko. So Pekko, it's actually pronounced Pekko. Domatai Pekko with a phenomenal defensive effort. And Pekko, you know, he's the son of Domatai Pekko Sr., who played 15 years in the National Football League.
Yeah, again, it's an athletic family, and
that was an athletic play.
Oh, it was. I mean, he got off the ground. You could see how high his vertical was, and he's pretty tall himself. You can see how high he got off the ground, and Feinberg just didn't read it.
What a play by Pekko. Father was a great star at Michigan State. Played for Cincinnati, Denver, Arizona, and most of his years at Baltimore. Well, like father, like son, they make plays. Russo to the air for Butler. Just missed him. And he had a step on a deep post route.
He did. Again, it's the corner has to be able to cover that, especially if they're covering man on the outside.
And again, we talked about it at the top of the show, really, how they're going to eventually get Butler involved. And we've seen him involved both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, again, that's that athletic ability. And again, the quarterback will throw the ball and put it there, and the athlete will jump for it and get it.
2nd down and 10 for the Coyotes. Miller, running room left side.
Again, they ran the trap.
There he goes, King Miller. It's 1st and goal, Calabasas.
Again, you see the guard and the tackle pulling, and they're just opening these giant holes for Miller.
Well, you got the Miller twins, and they're doing quite well, aren't they? Kalen on defense, King on offense. There's older bro. 1 minute. He's proud of that. He's a minute older.
Again, take a look at it. 58 and 54. They're pulling. They're opening that hole. And, again, that athlete's on his way.
Wilder and Miller with the blocks. Let's see if they can punch it in, these Coyotes. Russo missed his handoff there to King Miller and scurried to the outside and scampered out of bounds. But that's penetration, though, from ECR.
When Russo keeps the ball, he can make stuff happen, and that's another dangerous person on the field.
Inside of 10 minutes to play in the half, and an opportunity for Calabasas to stretch their lead. There's 3 NFL ex-players on the staff at Calabasas, led by Kerry Harris. So there's knowledge, and they're going to build the program back. Calabasas in recent years has had some very strong teams. CIF championship team, Southern Section titleists. And they want to work on their aerial game tonight. There's an errant throw.
It's interesting to see how the quarterback was able to throw those fades and put it right where they needed to put it, and now there's receivers that are open and they're being missed.
Dustin Amick was the intended receiver. Number 28 is Amick.
And again, this is an area where Elko has had issues. 3rd and long, they let him out, and they give him the big play, and they've got to stop doing that. They've got to really tighten their defense on 3rd and long and 3rd and short.
Out of the gun is Russo. Throwing, incomplete, nearly picked off. He threw it into a lot of traffic.
Yeah, there were no receivers open at that time. Elko did a good job of covering it, and they were able to get into the end zone.
Looks like the field goal unit is coming on, and indeed they are. Number 9 is Sean Stepanowski, and he will try to build the lead to 17-7. ECR did clamp down there and slow down the Coyotes.
Well, again, you wonder, they've been moving the ball on the ground, then all of a sudden they stop and try to throw it.
But again, that's what they want to work on. They feel they need that balance later down as they get deeper into the season. The kick is good, and it is 17-7. I think that's a little bit of a win, though, for El Camino Real.
Yeah, I mean, again, anytime you can keep 7 off the board, you take what you can get from that.
Especially knowing that you can score. That's not been the problem this year for the Royals. Good job by Russo. That snap was low.
Strong leg.
What a lovely night in Woodland Hills. Kickoff, it was about 80 degrees, but it's cooled off. Probably about 73 to 75 right about now. It's a lovely evening. No wind to speak of. And it can get windy in the West Valley. Randy Rosenblum with Paul Zabalik, and you want to stay tuned. In 9 minutes and 20 seconds, you're in for a treat as Paul Zabalik and Jason Zabalik, the coach of ECR, go one-on-one. You'll like that. I promise. Kicks it to Peffer. And remember, he's returned one against Harvard Westlake all the way. Luke Peffer spinning and is driven down as he crosses the 25-yard line.
Yeah, he delayed on returning that. He was trying to see where the blocks were going to open up, and they didn't. And he just started to run. He was looking for the breaks.
Really like his potential. Just a junior. By the way, his brother, Carson, is on the varsity basketball team at Crespi.
There you go. When you start to see that, you see the delay as he hesitated, looking for the blocks and looking for the openings.
Paid the price, though. He got hit hard coming upfield.
He did.
Rowie on really got the shoulder into him. Good run up the middle, though. So that offensive line is doing some great work, some good things, springing these running backs.
And again, they're running between the tackles, and that's what they have to do against that 3-man front.
That's Colin Armida. It's his turn to run the football. Gain of 9, 2nd down and 1. 8:45 remains opening half. Entertaining first half here in Woodland Hills. Armida didn't have a whole lot there, but he only needed one, so it should be good enough to move the sticks, and is.
Yeah, again, the linebackers came up and they started the blitz. And again, what's going to happen is if they continue to do that, that middle of that field's going to open up and Feinberg can throw it. And that's the intent of that run game.
And again, a year ago down 10, it'd be Katie by the door. But with this offense, Elko feels comfortable that they can come back against anyone. Also want to possess the ball and give your defense some rest. Feinberg quick one on the out to Spellman. They want to get him in space, and he gets about 5 yards before he's knocked out of bounds. Hit hard by Ethan Clemens.
Yeah, again, that edge opened up. Again, he was able to get the ball quickly. Feinberg got it out there, as you said, very quickly. Tom Brady-ish, and they were able to get some yards.
Ethan Clemens was 3-on-3 there, number 3 hitting number 3. Clemens is a transfer from Cathedral High School in Los Angeles. Calabasas has picked up a good one in Clemens. Ermita didn't get enough for the first down. It'll bring up 3rd down. See that long hair? You know it's Pekko, like his dad in the NFL. Terrific football player was his father. And Domatai Jr. is pretty good in his own right.
Yep, again, you have an athletic family, and you have the ability to use that strength, and it's demonstrated here. He's able to just pull the runner back.
That's a good look on the aggressiveness and the quickness of that Calabasas D.
Big play, 3rd down here for Elko.
3rd and short. They only need 1.5 yards. And they got it easily with Ermita running over the left side.
That's, again, that inside run game is there, and Coach Sabolic has to be able to continue to capitalize on that. And that's going to open up that center of the field for the pass.
And again, my point, I know, Paul, you agree with this one. It keeps that defense rested, keeps them off the field when you occupy the ball.
Right. And their linebackers are hurting. On the field. And their linebackers are hurting a little bit.
Derek Arcudi, the sophomore backer, is limping.
Timeout. Calabasas.
That's why they
their
took
first
the timeout.
of the half.
Well, you got an injured player.
Yeah, it's Arcudi.
So
again, he limps off. It is a 1st down.
As you see that inside run, Randy, that's going to be able to open up that pass game. That's what they want to do.
Well, ECR still in this one, and it's a good sign that they're playing up. You look at schedules, you play up. And right now that they're playing against a very tough defense from Calabasas. And this defense has made some plays tonight.
Yes, they have. Again, they have that athlete. They got 58. He's very strong. And again, he's able to stuff a lot of the run game.
Yeah, there's 58 is Miller, 6 is Pekko. And this is the artistry of Pekko with the pickoff.
Again, athletic ability. That's hard to coach. You just have it. He's able to leap. He's got a 36-foot vertical and at least 36-inch vertical. And
it may seem like 36 feet, though.
Yeah, it does, especially when you can intercept a pass like that.
Yeah, they turned it into 3 points after the turnover. Feinberg will go. And he's bent back. Good run, though, by Ryan Feinberg. He took a hit, though, from Debo Wilson.
Again, that's the dimension that Feinberg possesses. If he starts moving out of the pocket, he's going to start gaining yardage. And, again, that's going to give them options elsewhere. He's got the speed to do it.
Second down, 6 to go. Spellman up the middle. He has running room. He has 1st down yardage inside the 35.
Same thing, again, inside the tackles. They're going to be tough to stop that. Coach Sabolic has to keep it going.
I want to remind everyone, after our ECR Calabasas game tonight on LA36, Prep Sports Night Live is on with the guys. Rich Estrella and Bob Gibson. We'll have reports from Dan DeForest as well. I'll probably chime in. But Rich and Bob, 10 o'clock tonight on LA36. So a 1st down, and they're grinding it out. Just above 5 minutes to play in the opening half. Calabasas by 17-7 with Paul Zabalik. My name is Randy Rosenblum. Thrilled you're on hand for Prep Football on LA36. Spellman has yardage again up the middle. High stepping as he goes. A terrific run. Finally dragged down by Ethan Clemens.
Again, he's getting the blocks inside, and that's just opening these holes. And again, if they sustain the drive, and they'll be able to gain yardage. And the linebackers took themselves out of the play. They were trying to blitz. And again, that just helps that run.
Pickup of 8, 2nd down and 2. It's a long 2. But some options for Feinberg. Spellman again. And Clemens again, 3-on-3. Those two number 3s have met each other a few times tonight.
There's an old saying that you just keep running until they stop you, and then you go do something else.
Well, he needed 2.5, right? He got 2, so it's 3rd down and less than 1 for El Camino Real. Of course, it's 4-down territory.
You bet.
4 minutes to play in the half. Jason Zabalik has to be pleased with his offense, though, especially that offensive line. They have established the running game.
And again, they're not a very large offensive line compared to Calabasas, but they're skilled in certain areas.
Quarterback draw, and he ran into Kalen Miller. Case closed. 58 is a football player.
Yes, he is. Again, he's able to pretty much read that and the strength he has to stabilize the center and make the play.
Well, it's 4th and still a half a yard to go. Feinberg got nothing on that one.
Nope, exactly right. Again, he ran into that wall.
It's more like an apartment. Kalen Miller. Boy, King and Kalen are impressive for Calabasas.
Big play here. They got to get this to keep the drive.
4th down and 1. The biggest play of the ball game so far for ECR with 3 minutes to play. Opening half.
Center of the field's wide open there. All right, he got it.
Kalen Miller is the one that jumped offside. That'll give the Royals a 1st down.
Against the offense, Bob. Against the offense. Against the offense. Offense.
Whoa, they're going to go the
Try
other way.
False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
That is an interesting call. Visually, it certainly looked like Miller jumped, but maybe somebody indeed moved in that front. Going to have a timeout.
That was a hard one to see.
It sure looked like he jumped offside. So, but again, it's called a false start. We're going to take a look at this because I would imagine the officials right there probably got the call correctly. Visually, it was tough for us to see. We'll see if there's any movement up front. Does Miller go first, or is there movement? Well, he did rock back a little bit on that right side, so I can see why they called it. You're not so sure, though.
No, again, that's just a tough call to make at that play.
Yeah, because the fans thought it was a 1st down. We thought it was a 1st down. But that was one of those 50-50 calls that could have gone either way, so it's kind of hard to dispute something like that.
Yeah, referee's got the last say, so it is what it is.
So now it's 4th and 5.5. Now what do you want to see from this offense?
Well, again, as they've been running the ball, the middle of the field's open for that underneath, that same pass that Feinberg threw earlier tonight.
Now Robin Bueno has come in. We've seen him as a running back, but he's used in the slot. And he's a pretty good catcher of the football. So let's see if Feinberg tries to direct one to Bueno. They're short a man, so here comes Armida. 4th down, you don't want guys running in, or you have to rush the call. They do get it away, and Feinberg looking to throw. Gets away from Pekko. He's going to run, and he's got room, and he's got a 1st down.
Yeah, again, you see that Feinberg has the ability to run the ball, and if he sees the opening, he's got the quickness to get there.
And that's a backbreaker, too, for Calabasas, who had him behind the chains.
You know, again, those are big plays, and that's a momentum changer. Okay, you see Feinberg here, just getting rushed, and he was able to break away and just keep the ball. And he saw the opening. There was nobody there. There was no contain, and he made the first down.
Yeah, once he got by Pekko, he knew he was going to make the first down, and he smartly went out of bounds.
Yep.
Didn't want to take a hit. First down at the 22. Handoff straight ahead. This is a great run. Flag is out to the end zone. This one is probably going to come back. Boy, Armida showed some great speed there, but the flag was thrown right in the middle of the line. That's normally a holding. How about Colin Armida, though? That burst to the outside.
Back up. Hold it. Holding on the offense from the spot of foul, 10 yards, first down. Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the spot of foul, replay first down.
This is what happened last week against Harvard Westlake. They were on the drive, they were moving the ball, and they had penalties, and it just killed the drive. They've got to just be smarter on this kind of a play.
Wipes out a gorgeous run by Armida.
Again, he was able to bounce outside and make yardage.
It's 1st and 9 after the foul. We'll try it again with Colin. This time they clog up the middle. That's good defense.
The linebackers came up real strong on that. Again, it's opening that middle for that intermediate pass, that short zone inside.
Yeah, Calvin Connolly plugged up the hole. One of the captains of Calabasas, who had a big interception in the win against Birmingham. 2 minutes to go in the half. 2nd and long. Feinberg to the air. Bueno had it for a moment. Was it picked off? It was. Well, that stings, one of those deflected balls. And
again, you saw the middle of the field. You saw the middle of the field. He was wide open, and it just was a bad pass. He touched it, but he was wide open if you see it on the replay.
King Miller continues to make plays.
Again, you'll see it here. The receiver's wide open. Number 8's wide open. See it? And he tips it, and that's why they do tip drills.
Yeah, Bueno had it for a moment. And Miller at the right place at the right time, and he always seems to be there, doesn't he?
Good athletes do.
Boy, that stings a little bit. You lose a touchdown on the holding foul, and you give it right back. So that's 2 Feinberg interceptions, really on great athletic plays, although that was an overthrow. The first one was just a great effort by Pekko.
Yep.
Now you have to clamp down defensively in the final 2 minutes. You're down 10. You're still in the ball game.
And again, offensively, those mistakes has been what hurt Elko the last couple of games.
That's Debo Wilson carrying the rock. Minute 35 left in the half. Calabasas with a 17-7 lead. Of course, at halftime, we'll meet the Zabolics. That'll be a fun time for you. I think you'll enjoy it. Here's a pass to the far side. It's in the air. It's a jump ball, an incomplete, dangerous pass. And with a minute 18 left, well, Camino Real now has put them behind the chains and a chance to get the ball back in good field position if they can make a stop right here on 3rd and long.
Again, this is a huge...
No, don't be shy. The camera's right over here.
This is a huge 3rd down play. Again, Elko's got to tighten up, and they've got to be able to cover those outside receivers because in the short time, it's going to look that Calabasas will go deep.
So here's a big 3rd down. They need about 13 yards. It's a long situation, so it's not going to be easy for Calabasas. But again, they wanted to challenge themselves offensively tonight.
3rd and 4, it's first down, looks like. They jump.
Encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
You're right. Looking at the down marker there, I thought it was 14. You're right, it was 4.
It's an interesting down marker set. Did you see how it automatically sets?
Yes.
It's all electronic.
It is electronic, and unfortunately for ECR, another mistake.
Yep.
That really hurts.
It does.
because now they can burn off the clock if they choose to do that. But you got to stop them first, and look out here as King Miller is dancing. Oh, what a tap dance that was out across the 35. And a first down for Calabasas.
Great athletic ability, Randy. Again, just watch his ability to cut and read, and he sees it, and he's just able to avoid the tackles. He's got that skill set that he jump starts.
Unfortunately, there's a Royal down. And it's a 17-7 game. And the last thing you can ill afford here if you're El Camino Real is to let Calabasas come down the field and score before the halftime. So this is a critical possession. It's a ball game right now, but if they fall down and give away another score with a $1:11 left, then you're in real trouble.
Exactly right. Again, they've got to be able to stop that run. They're missing tackles. Again, you'll see the linebackers are missing the tackles, and the running backs with their skill set are able to capitalize on it.
Hey, I like this crowd.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And again, we're seeing this throughout Southern California, throughout really college and professional football. Fans are back in force, and that's great to see. A lot of them vaccinated. If not, they're all wearing the mask here at El Camino Real High School. Russo, we know he can do this. He has a lot of green.
He has the ability to run, and that's the opening.
Down the sideline, a flag is out, and we're going to have an illegal block on the return, which will wipe out this touchdown. You know, I'm starting to dislike officials. We've seen a couple exciting touchdowns, one from Armida, now this one from Russo, that are wiped out, and usually the flag is a good 10, 15 yards away from the play.
Well, there's an old saying in the game.
Kurt, from the flag, we're going to go back 15, but that's still going to give White a first down out of bounds. Personal foul, blindside block on the offense. 15 yards from the spot of foul. Play results in a first down.
Well, Mark Milsom, our referee, does a little bit of play-by-play for us, too, doesn't he, down there? He
does a good job.
He not only gives us the call, he gives us the explanation.
Well, again, in football, there's a saying that if the referees wanted to, they could call a penalty on every play. There's always something that you can challenge.
Sometimes it seems like they do. Still time for Calabasas inside of a minute. They can still take it into the end zone, and Miller's a dangerous man. There he goes again. King Miller inside the 35. And now you would expect that Calabasas will start utilizing those timeouts, and they do. So with 45 seconds left, Calabasas is running the football so effectively. And again, they wanted to incorporate the passing game in. Kerry Harris wanted to establish that.
Well, again, he's got the offensive line that are able to move, and they're pulling tackles and centers and doing a lot of different things on the front.
Flag is out again as Russo's bouncing to the outside. And he'll go out of bounds. Flags everywhere. I think we see about 7 or 8 flags. How many officials do they have? Well, we have 5 of them, and every one of them threw a flag. So these markers are coming out in force.
On the play. Personal foul, blindside block against the offense. That penalty is declined. Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the flag. Repeat the down.
Maybe I'm just getting jealous because Mark Milsom is getting so much airtime.
He is, and he's explaining it very well. Again, you see all kinds of activity going on here. There's a hold right here, and there's a flag on that. And then, again, you have number 5 with all kinds of athletic ability being able to get outside. Bodies flying everywhere.
Still 32 seconds left in the half. course, at intermission, we'll meet the Zabalics. I think you'll like that, Chad. It's fun. Russo slips and throws it over everybody.
Again, you question why he threw that. There was double coverage on number 1.
Of course, number 1 is Aaron Butler. Well, it's tough for the Coyotes now. They're out of the Marmoni League, and they want to get ready for tough Marmoni League action with the likes of St. Bonaventure, Westlake, Oaks Christian. So they know what they're up against. And there's some great football there. St. Bonaventure's 2-0. Westlake's 2-1 going into tonight. Oaks Christian is 0-3, but they got a great football program and great heritage, and they're playing big-time schools.
Prior to the snap, failure to wear equipment on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. I can't keep.
And again, you've got Calabasas now killing drives with penalties.
Well, of course, coaches hate to see all these mistakes, so they're going to talk about this at halftime. And a little bit is a loss of concentration here on both sides.
Well, you know, the younger the teams, the more challenging it is for them to learn the different kinds of techniques that you can and can't do. And, of course, the more experienced teams, you see fewer mistakes because they just have learned not to do those things. And Calabasas is a little more seasoned team than Elko. They've got some very young kids on El Camino's team, and some of them have never played football before.
But there's a stark difference between this year's team and last season's program. And again, they're playing stiff competition.
Oh,
I mean, it's going to be interesting when we see them later, and we'll have their games against the likes of Cleveland and Chatsworth. Those are winnable games, certainly. I would think that Elko feels comfortable that they can win those games. It would be a test, certainly, against Taft. Taft just won a game at home and snapped a 26-game winning streak. But those are winnable games for Elko.
Yeah, well, you've got new coaches in the league as well.
Yeah, Jeff Karen is the man.
Karen, at Taft. You got Peter Gunny at Cleveland. They're all first-year coaches, and they're building their programs.
Yeah, so that's more of an even fist fight. El Camino may be favored in many of those games. Birmingham's the favorite to win the league, but El Camino's getting there. Here's Butler. They want to spring him, but he's not going to be able to go upfield the way he wanted to. Skipped out of bounds to preserve the clock. Got 2 there, but that's not going to get the job done at this stage. They need a big play.
And they almost had the block by number 50 on a trap, and they were able to get the block they needed from Nolan Wilson.
Third down and 27 needed. What's your 3rd and 27 call?
Just kill the clock and go into the locker room and regroup.
Let's see if they play it that way. Well, there's Russo running. And he's dragged down from behind. That's a nice defensive effort by Ricardo Rodriguez, 5'8", 180-pound senior defensive tackle for the Royals.
I guess they're going to let the clock run out and go in the locker room.
Up by 10. So at the break, Calabasas has a 17-7 advantage, looking for their 2nd win of the year. You know, Paul Zabalik, our analyst tonight, has got a long coaching list. He's coached everywhere from LA Valley College to Poly and Sun Valley, Manual Arts, Occidental, North Hollywood High School, Pierce College, Chaminade, Kennedy, Granada Hills. Been everywhere. Well, sit back, relax. He's chuckling now. You're going to enjoy this conversation with the Zabalics. It might turn into its own TV show. Let's check it out.
My name is Paul Sabalik, and I am working the football game with Randy Rosenblum tonight. And I have the distinct honor of interviewing my son, Jason, who is the head coach at El Camino Real, Royals, from what I understand.
It is. It's an interesting name change, but thank you for the introduction.
Well, I couldn't do it any better. It's only been 40-some years, and I should know who you are. And obviously, I'm thrilled to be asked to do this. It's quite an honor to participate with you. And again, I can only hope for great things. So tell me about your first-year experience here.
Well, the first year's been a set of ups and downs, more so downs than ups, and trying to deal with the pandemic and everything going on a day-to-day basis, and trying to make sure that the kids stayed positive and upbeat. But at the end of the day, it was a learning curve for everybody, with all these young kids involved that were a part of the future of this program that had to be thrown into a spot right away early on, and started to rise to the challenge and got better and better over the months. We spent a long time in the off season getting ready for this year. Hitting the weights was for the first time. A lot of these kids hadn't lifted weights for about 2 to almost 2.5 years.
And they're a young group.
And they're a very young group. And so when they finally got back into the weight room, it made sense to them when we started out playing this season, like, oh, okay, I finally get it. The light went on for this crew, and it's been really exciting to see over the last couple of weeks all of this come to fruition, leading to tonight, which is, in our opinion, a one-game season, and we're trying to win tonight and get better along the way.
Well, with your experience, and again, I've had the privilege of working with you over the last several years. I remember your first year of coaching at Kennedy with us. You were still in high school, and you were the assistant to the assistant line coach. And from that point on, it's been historic because you've been able to spend several years in the community college system, and now you're here in your own program. What do you see happening in the future here?
I mean, it's just great things that are going on. We've been able to align ourselves academically and athletically with administration, and they've been such a great help and support. Everybody on campus, from the custodial staff all the way up to the top, and Mr. Hussey and Mr. Yee, and all of the wonderful things that we've been allowed to do. And it's only going to be getting better as we've aligned ourselves with the youth program. We've gotten the kids more intact with understanding that this is an opportunity to get an education paid for. And that was something that wasn't here often enough, I think. I'd use my time in the classroom to teach some of these kids, and they would always come and seek me out trying to get advice about what they should do and where they should go moving forward. And it was good to tutor them along the way, but now I actually get to tutor the whole bunch, and so that's really meaningful.
So you've been on campus here for almost 20 years,
Almost
right?
20 years. It's my 18th year, believe it or not. I know.
I believe it. I could definitely believe it. When you look at this program and you've seen it evolve and develop, you've got a legacy here. You've got 5 coaches, I believe, on your staff that are El Camino graduates, and the history of Coach Hayashida being here,
right,
and you and Noe Duran playing for Coach Hayashida in the city championship game. This has to be quite exciting for you to be back with Coach Hayashida and being on the sideline.
Yeah, it makes it that much more meaningful, and not just the coaching staff, but the staff in general on campus. I mean, you have probably at least 30 or so educators on campus that were students here at one point in time, and that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, is that tradition, that home-cooked feeling inside kind of gives it its own little small-town football vibe with that. And being able to get Coach Hayashida back was, kind of a good thing to keep us all in check, and in rap to have a master coach like that on staff.
Well, and you know the history between Coach Hayashida and I when we coached on the staff at Chaminade in the early 90s when you were a ball boy for that team with Coach Lawson, and when Coach Croson was on the staff. He is now the head coach at Chaminade, so it's amazing how this cycle goes around and around, and everybody seems to stay connected to each other over time. So when you look at this program, you look into the community as well. You've got a lot of opportunities to build this through connections and through businesses and parent groups.
Well, and that's the biggest thing, is trying to find those inroads, like the Woodland Hills Chamber of Commerce or somewhere else around the area that helps with citywide beautification, things of that nature, where we can actually get embedded into the community and do something special for our area and make it feel like a sense of pride when we're taking care of our homes, the same way we would pick up trash around the field on a day-to-day basis, make sure we leave this place better than we found it type of mentality. And that's another thing that hasn't been around very much, is that idea of a sense of responsibility, a sense of pride in where you're coming from. I saw it over the course of time. It kind of got swept under the rugs. When you win a championship over almost 25 years ago, and that time in between, there's a lot of dust on that trophy. And, our job is to try to make sure that we do the best we can to get back to that game. And that's the end-all, be-all goal.
And it's one game at a time, and it's easy to look at it in retrospect and say what was, but you look forward to each game, and each game is a new start. As football is, you don't fester on the old things. You get into it and you correct those things and you move forward. You've got multiple athletes on your team. You've got baseball players. You've got other athletes. How does that work out? Are the other coaches cooperative in allowing those players to work with football as well as the other sports?
Well, it's great. We have such a good relationship on campus. I've known a lot of these coaches for, over the course of the past some 10, 12 years. I coached with Coach Leinhardt in the baseball program for quite a few years, and we interchange kids. I'm one of the only programs that's allowed to use the baseball outfield grass. We actually use the baseball field, playing our Sunday league games with a lot of alumni. That's how closely interrelated we are. And we do the field afterwards, and once again, that same concept of making it prettier than the way we found it. And I think that was something that was instilled by Coach Hayashida, by Coach Mayo when I was here playing baseball.
By the way, 2 city championship baseball rings, 1 city championship football ring, and Dad doesn't have any. So, and he lets me know it all the time. Whenever I start to get a little critical of some of the things he does, he always comes back with, how many rings do you have? So again, I have to deal with that part of it. But again, that's a really popular opportunity for these kids to work through different sports and be able to have that chance to play. Because some of them may go on to other colleges playing other sports.
Correct, and that's the biggest part. We've had a couple of kids. One last year was a basketball player, started out playing basketball, Ty Rutledge, ended up getting a full scholarship because he played literally 1.5 years of football. And, he was 6'5" and all the stature. But just on stature and grades alone, a lot of these kids can have this opportunity to get out to the next level because they're ready. When I was at the college level, you look for kids that were not going to fall, academically sound because we wanted them at the junior college level. They didn't have the chance to get that scholarship.
Right.
We're driving kids to that scholarship level.
You're giving them a different pitch now.
Correct. We're keeping them at a higher standard. For one thing, for example, we try to keep the kids academically accountable with our GPAs. And once again, you just need a 2.0 in order to be eligible. But I say, well, look, the minimum for a Division I school, that's the highest echelon of entrance requirement that you can have. Why don't you hold yourself to this standard, and why don't we make it 2.5? But once again, it's a transitional process. You can't just lead the horse to water and expect it to drink right away. It might have to trust the process and what you're teaching them and understand, okay, that light turns on moment, that it all comes together. So that's kind of what we've been seeing over the course of the last 6 months. And, like I said, I think we can have a good opportunity to take care of our world once we've traveled through the rough and ready patches of our non-conference schedule.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my next question.
How did I know that? I know him too well.
The schedule
there had to come some time where I got
Camino
slack
inherited,
for something.
And again, I've had this conversation, has been one of extreme challenge. And yes, the players can reach for that, but sometimes it's better to play in the first 2 years of your program, maybe a little less challenging of a schedule. What do you see happening next year then once you get through this?
We'll have to reevaluate things, obviously. It's just a constant process. I think a lot of the issues came with COVID. And so when we had to deal with our schedules and teams dropping out because of COVID, and you lose contracts and you make contracts, and I never even knew that there was such a thing as a contract between 2 high schools to play in a game. I thought the coach said, hey, you guys want to play? Yeah, okay, let's play. And we're good to go. And we play a football game on a Friday night, and the pieces fall into place. And so just kind of learning the ropes and that type of thing, and not wanting to get stuck in a position where we're the only team in the city section that plays 9 games instead of 10. And that was the biggest concern. I think at the end of the day, we want to give the kids every opportunity to succeed. So when there was a chance to pick up Banning over St. John Bosco, I think that was probably the better of the 2 choices. But at the end of the day, I think the schedule builds character, and I want a team going into a league competition that's, in my opinion, pretty wide open, I want a team with character, and I want a team that builds that character along the way.
Well, again, they're going to have that experience. They're
Right.
going to look at other schools and say, look, we played these big schools with Division I players.
Correct.
We can clearly play our league, and we can clearly compete at that level without having to worry about, are we good enough? Because you've been challenged.
Correct.
You know?
And I think at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to confidence and aggression. And if you can find a team that is confident and aggressive, then you can win more high school football games than not.
But you can't teach aggression.
But you can't teach that. Well, you can try and instill it, but nowadays, coaches' legs are cut out from under them, and
Yeah,
you can only do so much. Going back to the stories that you would used to tell me about how you guys would get ready for a game at Valley College,
Yeah.
and the pregame rituals that took place, I think nowadays we'd be punished very greatly and not have jobs anymore.
I think the coaches might be arrested today if
Yeah.
they did today what we went through in our day. Again, it's just a question of time and the new paradigm and being able to adjust to all these kinds of things. And I think you have the opportunity here, and I'm very excited for you because you can build this dynasty. I mean, it's going to take you a little time. It's going to be a little challenge, and you're going to take some bruises. You're going to take some hits. But you've taken hits. You've been down. You bounced back up. I mean, I saw it personally, and you've had enough career opportunities to know very well you just don't lay there. You get back up and you get after it. And I see an opportunity for you to do that here. And I can only tell you that you've got fan base, you've got supporters in the community, you've got coaches, you've got your family above all else.
Yep, no doubt.
I mean, you've got 2 kids that just adore you, and they're going to love coming around here and being part of your program.
Right.
Your son should be the ball boy you were at age 6.
Right. Well, that's what I hope. Not quite yet. I don't know if he's tough enough just yet. And so we'll get there. Hopefully next year.
Okay. Well, again, you were 6 and 7 when I had you as a ball boy at North Hollywood.
Right.
And then you were the ball boy at Pierce when we restarted the program in '88.
Yeah.
And you were 8 years old then, and you were getting knocked over by JC players. So your mother
falling down the stairs.
Your mother cringed every time.
Yep.
But they're giving us the cut here, so we can go ahead and wrap it up. Any final words for your team, for your program?
Thank you for your support as always.
You had to love that, right? That's as good as it gets. The Zabolics. I think we got a TV show. Paul, that had to be enjoyable for you, right?
Oh, it was great, and it was impromptu. Again, it wasn't expected, Randy, and thank you for that opportunity.
We thought it would be a pretty good idea. ECR is back, as is Calabasas. Some highlights from the first half. And we had some good plays in that first half, and I'm not sure the meeting of the captains is a great highlight, but this is a nice run by Russo, isn't it?
Again, you see the talent and the ability of Russo to find the opening, and with his quickness, he's able to make that play.
And here's the pass to Miller in the corner. King with a nice catch.
Again, the ball was put up right where it needed to be, and the receiver brought it down.
Spellman had an opening, and he took it in.
Yeah, and again, that's the opportunity that Elko has in the middle of the field.
The Butler did it, didn't he? Another rushing touchdown and a beauty from Aaron Butler.
There's your quick cutbacks.
How about the athletic ability of Pekko?
Oh.
And the final scoring of the half was a short field goal from Sean Stepanowski. And this hurt because ECR could have made it a 17-14 game on the deflected ball. Intended for Bueno. King Miller with the interception. All right, so what's going to have to happen for ECR to fight their way back and steal this one from the Coyotes?
Well, the first thing they have to do is be able to have the shutdown defense. They've got to be able to stop those runs and the quarterback keepers. They've got to be able to target the quarterback to a point where as soon as he starts running, they just collapse on him and just rally up and make the tackle. The athletic ability of some of the wide receivers, when you start looking at how they're able to adjust and how they're able to make the great plays. I mean, Aaron Butler has done some really fine things, and again, Russo at quarterback is clearly the leader of that offense, and he's taking the ball and running with it. And second, El Camino has to sustain their drives. They can keep the clock running by keeping the ball on the ground and be able to throw those passes in the center of the field, which they did. They deflected it. The receiver was wide open, and just the mistakes. They just got to cut down on that, and if they use special teams again, the special teams have to tighten up.
And again, this is about patience for ECR. They're playing up. They're playing tough teams. That's why they're 0-3. They had some shots to maybe win the game at Harvard. Westlake came up a little bit short in the home opener here. But this is a challenging schedule, and again, it's going to continue to be that way when they take on Banning in a couple of weeks. For Calabasas, they have Crescenta Valley next week, and that's a game that I'm sure the Coyotes think they can win.
Well, again, you're looking at strength of schedule, and that's always an issue. But, you know, the fact is they need to improve week in and week out, and they're starting to do that.
Well, King Miller's been very good, hasn't he?
Oh, a superior athlete. Again, great ability, and he's able to just move the ball and demonstrate some clear skills that are going to be valuable on the next level.
As a running back, it's nice to see that he can go out and catch the ball, too.
Oh, yeah. Again, he's a very versatile athlete, and he's got all kinds of abilities. And here's, again, a demonstration from his cutback ability and be able to open field run.
And Feinberg had it tipped, and there's King Miller on defense.
He is all over the field.
And we have fans all over El Camino High School. They know where the camera is. It's always nice on a weekend to be at a high school campus, and great to see the students back on campus, because it's really been tough on the students, this COVID, and obviously we're all enduring a difficult time with COVID-19, but it's especially difficult on students, you know, when they were away from class and had to try to learn virtually. That's not an easy thing to do.
And again, it's been hard on all the athletes, because they haven't been able to practice. They haven't been able to work out for over a year. So all of those off-season drills and all those off-season programs were pretty much stopped because of COVID.
Well, we still have to be safe with the Delta situation. It's mutating, and still it's out there, and everybody here wearing the mask in the stands. And I love the fact that the fans here are adhering to it. I see preciously few people without the mask, and there are some. But when you see a lot of the other stadiums around the country, especially in the college games, a lot of people aren't wearing the mask. The crew has got the mask on. Well, they're supposed to anyway. He's hiding. So they've added a couple extra minutes here at halftime, and that's why it's not quite kickoff, but it's coming up in a few seconds. And Calabasas, who won the toss and deferred to begin the ball game, will get it in the second half. So the Coyotes will get it. So defensively, early on in the half, ECR needs to step up.
They do. They've got to be able to stop that, the quarterback's running ability, and they've got to be able to cover those receivers on those fade patterns.
Well, they got to be careful, because dropping back deep is Aaron Butler. You know he's fully capable of bringing it back. And he's joined by Clements, Ethan Clements. And the Royals to kick off. This time it's Johnson doing the duties, and they punch it. Wanted to go for an onside kick there, it looks like, but it was blown dead. I don't know if the officials were ready yet. They just blew the play dead. No flags came out.
I didn't see the referee give the signal.
This is somewhat confusing. I just don't think they were ready to play. I think that's what the situation. It is a penalty against ECR, but they never put the flag down. It was Chavez that ended up kicking the ball, and he's been doing that shore tonight. This will back up ECR 5.
Again, there's a special teams effort here. They've got to be able to shut this down. They give up too much yardage on the kickoffs.
So again, Asa Johnson has it teed up, but it was Chavez that came across and kicked it. And they're both kickers, so it can be either guy, and they're trying to fool Calabasas. They really wanted to onside kick that and maybe get the ball back immediately. But the penalty nullified everything. Now you would think Asa will kick it.
They opened last week with an onside kick against Harvard Westlake, and it was recovered by Harvard Westlake.
Boy, you did your homework. And it is Johnson again, a short kick, and it's fielded beautifully by Calabasas. It's a wonderful job, and what you want to do, fall on the football, and it was Arcudi, the linebacker.
Again, he did the right thing. He just fell on the ball. You don't want to try to be a hero and run with it. Your linemen are all up in the front line, and when you do an onside kick, you hope that the ball takes the bounce, and the linemen try to catch it, and they not do it very well, and then you can recover it. But in this case, they were taught right to just fall on it.
Well, the negative here for ECR, they give up field position. It's a much shorter field for Calabasas. First couple seconds of the third quarter with Paul Zabalik. I'm Randy Rosenbaum. Royals football is they're trying to get a victory. Here's a nice throw by Russo and a late flag. He's able to get it out to the perimeter to King Miller. With the flag behind the play. Warm night. Really delightful here. You don't need a coat. Southern California, as you all know, it can cool off and get chilly in the evening, but not in the valley, not tonight.
Still summer.
Again, we have a conference with the officiating crew, and Mark Milsom has been explaining a lot of infractions this evening. Give it to us, Mark. Don't be shy.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty. After the play, personal foul on the defense. A 15-yard penalty. Result is a first down.
You know, he was out of the box, so I'm not sure how that could be a roughing call.
Well, it's a lot of real estate given up by the Royals. And the way that Calabasas is running the football, you can ill afford to give away that much yardage. See, they're stepping off 2 15-yard fouls. So now you're in the red zone, and now your defense is up against it. Steven Russo's had a very productive evening toting the football.
It's again that athletic ability he has.
RPOs have been a big story in this game, haven't they?
And he's been able to read it very well.
Yeah, he's great with the read option. This time he throws it. Well, they're closing in on another score. Down inside the 5-yard line. Beautiful catch, and that's Brown who made the grab. Brown's an excellent target. Gagne Brown. Miller. Touchdown. King Miller.
Again, you see his athletic ability, Randy. He's able to just sidestep and spin, and there's no contain on the outside of Elko's defense, and he was literally able to walk it in.
And again, a short field for Calabasas, and they took advantage quickly. It took them only 45 seconds of this third quarter to score.
Well, 30 yards of it was on penalties, which again is, mistakes by the defense.
And Russo to hold for Stepanowski, who's been busy, number 9. He just looks like a kicker, doesn't he? At that frame.
He's having a career evening.
It's 23-7, looking for point number 24 for the Coyotes. Short trip from Calabasas. What do you think, 3 miles? 4 miles?
Right around there.
He steps into it, and Stepnoski has it.
As Coach Sabolic was saying, this is a a neighborhood battle, and they vie for the same players. And
well, he's come off the throne and scored a few touchdowns tonight. Let's look at the King, a crowning moment for the King.
Again, you can watch his spin here and the way he's able to read this, and he just spins out of it, and there's just nobody outside in the contain. You can walk in.
It's too bad it's not basketball. I could say he's the king of the court, but it's a football field. 24-7 for the Coyotes. Glad you're with us for Royal football. And again, we're going to have some Royals games down the road. See them against Taft and Chatsworth and Cleveland later in the year. And if they have a shot to win the league title, and I know that sounds crazy because they're looking down the barrel of 0-4, but we might just have that Birmingham game at the end of the year too. That's a possibility if it has playoff and championship implications.
Well, we got to take them one game at a time and see how they are able to adjust and again rebound from these games.
Well, they need to clean up some of the mistakes, the penalties. They've hurt them.
Yep.
Jumped offside a few times, giving Calabasas extra opportunities.
Again, that's a young team, Randy. That's what they do, and they make mistakes early on, and they'll learn from it.
Tovin. Here he comes. Down the sideline. Run out of bounds, but an excellent effort by Sam Tovin.
Sam Tovin's got some speed. Again, if he gets in the open field, he'll be able to break loose.
He's a very enthusiastic player. He's a transfer from Granada Hills, is Tovin. Takes it all the way out to the 43-yard line. Well, you're down 17. Still plenty of time. French fries on the board. 11-11 left. But for Jason Zabalik and company, they got to go to work.
They got to sustain their drives now.
They'll have to basically score on this possession, one would think. Yeah. They need to jump back into the game. Hand off. No running room. It's good defense from that front. Not allowing Spellman to turn it upfield. In fact, that was Howard. That's his first appearance. We've been waiting to see Devin Howard. So Devin Howard, who they really like here, junior running back and linebacker, maybe the best running back on the roster, but he's had a hamstring issue. So that's why we haven't seen Howard. So it's good to see him thrown into the fray.
Well, again, if he can stay within the tackles, you'll start to see break.
Feinberg airing it out. That's a good throw and a first down. That's what you need to do. You got to be accurate. You got to be pinpointing those passes. And Spellman was on the other end.
Again, that's at that short post inside and right behind the linebackers, and it's wide open when they're coming up to block to stop the run.
And also by putting Howard in the backfield, you're able now to split Spellman out and utilize his athletic ability in other capacities.
Well, he's also the backup quarterback, so you've got an opportunity to use him for possible flea flickers or those kind of things.
First and 10, ECR. Feinberg hiding the ball beautifully. That's one quarterback greeting another. Russo on defense, not playing like a quarterback, is he?
Now, again, you see that Feinberg does have the speed to be able to get outside. If he can keep the ball, that's another dimension for the Elko offense.
But you notice here, Russo, who's playing both ways, is some kind of hard-nosed football player. Remember, this is the quarterback on offense greeting El Camino's quarterback, number 5, playing defense, and this is a violent attack.
You've got your best players on the field. None of them leave.
Second down and 2. Feinberg with a beautiful 8-yard run. Out of the air. Open receiver. Spellman, give him a touchdown. That play fake froze the defense. How did Spellman get that open?
Well, again, the center of the field, as I've been telling you, is wide open once those linebackers come up for the run, and that center of that field is touchdown territory, and they were able to complete it.
There's still a lifetime to play here. 9:43 left in the third quarter. But can El Camino get stops? Now, the key there is I said they had to score on that possession, and they did. So that gets them emotionally back into the football game. Asa Johnson looking for point number 14. The lead is shaved to 10.
That's the momentum that they needed coming out of the half.
Let's take another look at Feinberg to Spellman.
Look at the center of the field. You see it wide open. See it? Nobody there.
Spellman was celebrating a little bit early, but deservedly so. Makes it in. But the challenge is the fans look on here in Woodland Hills. Can the defense slow down King Miller and Russo and Butler and the rest of that clan? That to me is the storyline right now.
That is the storyline, and that's unfortunately been the storyline the last 3 games. They've got to be able to just rally up and be able to stop those big plays.
I think what Jason Zabalik is going to have to do here, win, lose, or draw, but certainly if they lose, is calm his team down and understand the path to a potential league title. They're on their way. They can play the West Valley League teams. They're going to have to, go through this gauntlet of excellent teams outside their league. But all in all, a major improvement from the last games we witnessed with them a season ago, and that one trickles out of bounds. Do you like the fact that they're trying these short kicks?
I'm not quite sure I understand why they're doing that. They're just giving up half the field immediately rather than giving it the opportunity to make a tackle and stop them within the 25-yard line area. And not quite sure why that's happening.
Well, we all know that onside kicks can produce quick change in field position, but you also have the opportunity where you could pooch a kick downfield too and try to recover. You don't have to just try the onside kick. And you're right, they're starting on El Camino's side of the football field.
Again, as a coach, I would question why that's being done and why their special teams coach is trying to do that.
Well, they understand that Russo and Butler and Miller are back deep, but I'm on your side with that one. That was kind of questionable. They've been burned by it before. The last time Calabasas had a short field and they made it look easy, and here's Butler on the sideline taking in another one. And the matchup is difficult, and the ECR coaching staff was concerned about that guy, number one, Butler.
Again, when you've got a talented wide receiver like Butler, and you've got young corners that don't have the experience base, they can't press, they can't play man, and they've got to make sure that they give enough give away to make a tackle.
Russo, again, deceptive and hiding the football. He's pretty shifty.
Again, that was a keeper. It was almost an intentional play to just have him keep the ball.
Calabasas by 10. Just above 9 minutes to play in the third quarter, and they're in search of another score. It's been difficult for the El Camino defense against the physical challenge, the men up front in the trenches for Calabasas, led by 58 Miller. He is tremendous both sides of the ball. Russo with the pump fake for the Butler. And he overthrew that one.
Again, he was in double coverage, and you wonder why Russo would, even continue to throw that rather than just throw it out of bounds, because when you have double coverage, you risk a tip and you risk an interception.
They've had such great success on the ground. And
yeah.
You'd question their passing, but you know why they're doing that, because they're trying to get prepared for the Marmani League. They need more balance, and Kerry Harris talked about that before the game. I got to implement passing. He knows it. But he also knows he's got this guy. the King Miller. Diving forward, close to a first down. It is going to be 4th down and very short, maybe about a yard to go for King Miller in that offense. You know they're going for it.
Well, they're in 4-down territory here, so they should be able to convert this.
We have options with Russo and Miller in the backfield. And Debo Wilson. They're all back there. Miller on the perimeter. Going to be close. Elko with a nice job. That was a good surge from the defense.
Depends where they mark it.
Devin Howard on defense.
They gave it to him.
Got through. Peffer thinks it's ECR football. There is a flag out.
Yeah.
So if you're ECR, you measure this. If they're short, obviously you decline the penalty and take the ball. If it's first down yardage, you take the infraction and back them up. Those are your choices.
Well, it looks from the spot that he got the first down, so it depends on what they're going to do here.
Well, if he got the first down, you got to take the penalty.
Back. Yeah.
And that's what they're going to do. Well, that could be a backbreaker for Calabasas. Be a very long field goal with close to 50 yards. We know Stepanowski's got a nice leg. Now you're looking at 4th down and about 8.5, 9 yards.
Well, they're gonna go for it, and my guess is that they're gonna try to throw that out pattern into the boundary and try to get that yardage.
That's your guess?
That's my guess.
I'm going to say.
We had a first down. We're short. We're going to go with a penalty.
I think Russo is going to run the football. I think that
down
quarterback.
Right here. 4th down.
I think they're going to send him back, and he'll fake and shoot up the middle. That's my guess.
They're going to find Butler into the flat, and Butler's going to spin out and make an effort to get that first down.
Well, you're the expert. You're the coach.
That's why they pay you the big bucks, Randy.
Yeah, but you're the expert. We're going to say. I just like the way Russo's been running. Their other option, obviously, is King Miller.
We may both be wrong.
Well, that's never happened.
Russo
in the gun.
You're going to put him in the playmaker's hands is what you're going to do.
Well, that's Miller and Russo. They're both in that backfield. And I think it's Russo's turn to do it. And I am right. And he's done it. Russo down the sideline. First down. I've seen a few games in my day.
Yep, but again, he was looking for that wide receiver in the flat. And
so we're both right then.
He was covered, and so Russo had to keep it and go.
That's a backbreaker. It was a 4th down and 9, and Russo got the yardage.
See, he was looking for that, and it wasn't. It was covered, and they just didn't do a good job of containing him. That's again been one of their huge problems defensively.
That might be the biggest play of the ball game because that was a chance to get the defense off the field and get that offense, which has had some success tonight.
They have done that all year long, Randy. The last 4 games, they let the teams out of the box. They let them up, and they just can't close it off and get that big play. They've got to be able to fix that defensively.
So they got to force turnovers. They haven't been able to do that. That would help the cause immensely.
You notice the tackles. They're missing tackles. They're grabbing. They're not really in a position to make a play.
You would think now a steady diet of King Miller.
I would keep it on the ground.
King Miller up the middle, diving for a good chunk. It's a recipe for success, the run with Miller.
They score here on the ground, then he starts working in their other second-team players, get them experience, and you get 31 points on the board, you're supposed to win.
Yeah, that's usually the goal. If you get 30 plus, you got a great chance. Although El Camino scored 35 here last week, and it wasn't enough against Harvard Westlake in a 49-35 shootout. Up the middle, Miller dragging tacklers down inside the 5.
You get that big offensive line by Calabasas, they just blowing people out. And number 58, you know, when you start to think about his ability to make those big plays, you know, you're looking at Kalon Miller, and he's doing some great things on the offensive line along with Jake Rosen and number 50, Nolan Wilson.
First and goal. Rousseau battling for the goal line, twisting and turning, and he's just a bit shy of taking it in. It'll be second down and less than a yard to go for the Coyotes. Down to 6:10 left in the third quarter, and they're in a commanding position, especially if they can punch it in.
Well, again, they've kept it on the ground. That's what they need to do, and they'll score here. And again, they'll put a longer separation between Elko and Calabasas.
And again, the problem isn't offense for El Camino Real. They got to fix the defense.
Absolutely.
And walking in is the King Miller. That's his second rushing touchdown. He's also caught one, and he has an interception on defense. So King Miller is having a wonderful night.
King Miller is the king.
Well, if you're playing chess, you have to capture the king to win. El Camino has not been able to capture this king.
No, they haven't.
And Stepanowski is back out there. Drives that one up. No indication yet. Whistles sounded. He missed the kick.
They muffed the snap.
Yeah, he missed the kick. A rare miss for Sean. So it's a 16-point game, and you never know. 2 touchdowns, two-point conversions. A little bit of life here for ECR. This helps ECR. It changes the complexion of the arithmetic. You see the bobble there. And it was Russo that couldn't get it down for Stepanowski.
Coaches work hours upon hours upon hours upon that, just that snap and set for the kicker.
Good pictures tonight from our LA36 crew. We thank the guys. Miguel and the rest in the truck doing their thing. And enjoying the San Fernando Valley. I don't think they enjoyed the traffic coming into the valley, but they enjoy the valley.
Friday night.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it, on the freeways? I had to take the 101. That wasn't pleasurable either. So bad accident. Couple fire trucks. To go across the valley, it took me over an hour from the east to the west in the afternoon. Oy.
That's pretty normal.
Welcome to SoCal. We're here for the weather, though.
That was one of the only things about the pandemic is that there was no traffic. People were home.
Tovin. Reversing his field. Sam looking to be the man. Ran about 60 to get 20.
Yep, he ran sideways and trying to look for that opening, but again, he was reading the blocks downfield and it just didn't materialize.
Dropped by Brown. There's Sam Tovin, and he's a junior, and he's one of the building blocks, isn't he, for El Camino Real?
Yeah, again, you know, you've got talented kids that need the playing experience, and that's one thing Coach Sabalik is trying to do is give them a challenge so that they build character and they know what playing against better competition is so that they can play up to it.
And again, with that missed point, and we're not going to say that ECR is going to come back and catch Calabasas, but the math says they can because it's a 2-possession game with 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. So again, that's a tall order, but it is doable. And the offense has had flashes tonight. Feinberg, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Great plays, though, by the defense.
Especially the Pekko pick.
Again, that's something that you can't coach. That's athletic ability.
That's poetic, isn't it?
It almost is, absolutely.
The poetic Pekko pick.
Your alliteration is unbelievable, Randy.
Well, I appreciate that. You can tell that we work together, right?
We have 34 years ago.
There you go again with the years. Why do you have to bring that up?
Because I'm old and it's the only thing I have to hang my hat on.
I was like 8 years old at the time.
You were. You're a young guy.
I was a young guy. But weren't we all?
Yeah, one time.
Feinberg, roll out. That's a good-looking play. Good pass to his buddy Spellman.
Again, we talked about Feinberg getting out of the pocket and being able to make plays by just starting to move and to gain yardage.
You know, Ryan Gilder worked with us last year, a student here. He's now at UNLV and going into broadcast. I was going to take a halftime break, and his mom came up to me, and it was great to visit with her, and she's so proud of Ryan, and we were proud of the way he worked last year on our telecast. And good to see that he's at UNLV and into broadcasting. That's great.
Very good.
Feinberg out of the gun. Good protection. You give him that kind of operating room, he's going to find Dover all night long. Cameron Dover with the catch. Should be good enough for the first down.
Yeah, again, that was just a short out, and Feinberg was able to make contact, and they gave him the cushion. The corner played him off, and they got the 4 yards. The receiver knew exactly where he had to be to make the play. There it is. Again, the corner gives him that cushion, and the receiver knew exactly where he had to go to get the yardage.
Just a simple out, and it was productive. Now back to the ground game. So balance in the El Camino attack. Spellman again. Across the 50, down to the 47-yard line of the Coyotes. 5 minutes to play. Third quarter. Can they make it interesting? Can they get another score on the board and get the 2 to cut it to 8? That's the math that ECR, that's what Elko needs to do.
Well, again, if they continue running inside the tackles, that's going to open up that center of the field, and they'll be able to make that reception.
Second down and 4. That time it's read beautifully by Miller.
Yeah, Miller again. He's a force in the middle of the field, and if you don't block him and sustain it, he'll make that play. He's got the strength to do it.
58 is big time. I think he's a D1 prospect, and he's only a junior.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, he's got a year to get stronger.
Certainly got the quickness. He's got the body. And he gets off the ball quick.
He just beat the block of number 53.
Feinberg, open target. Big play for ECR. Oh, a beautiful throw to Spellman. His favorite target.
Again, where did he throw it? Right in the middle of the field.
Why isn't Calabasas adjusting to that?
Well, they're not adjusting to it because I think they want to keep their linebackers up tight to stop the run, and they're not doing a very good job of that. But they're just not reading it correctly, and the strong safety or the free safety is not coming up quick enough to stop it. It's been open all night.
And some enthusiasm here at El Camino, saying let's go offense. Well, I think the offense has been pretty good. A couple interceptions hurt, especially the deflected one that went to Miller when they were deep in Calabasas territory. Ermita breaks tackles. Colin Ermita.
What you saw is missed tackles here by Calabasas. They were reaching for him rather than getting into position to make the play, and they just couldn't hold him.
Now, you're an offensive lineman. You played at the University of Washington. You're a Hall of Famer at LA Valley College. What do you see from this offensive line from El Camino? Why are they doing some effective things? We have another flag out after the play.
Sportsmanlike conduct. Number 1 white, 15 yards.
Oh, Aaron Butler. Yeah, you got to take it. What are you seeing from that offensive front of ECR?
Well, what I see is a young group that really hasn't played together for a long period of time. They've got some size issues. The guards are very small. They've got a couple of linemen who are developed and getting stronger, but they're the ones that are going to have to develop by next year to make this team
a viable winning program.
Well, they have a chance still here. But this is a spot on the field where they turned it over on that deflected ball that King Miller came up with. But Feinberg has thrown 2 touchdowns as well. Quick one to the outside, and it's read beautifully by Calabasas. That's just great defense.
Well, there were 2 missed blocks by the receivers.
Yeah, that's how you run to the football and make plays. There's that man Russo, number 5, both sides.
Has not left the field.
Don't you love players like that?
We used to call them 60-minute players in college, and in high school, of course, they were 48-minute players. Never left the field.
Second down and 17. Feinberg again rolling out, and he will run. Chased out, well short of the first down. Calvin Conley, the linebacker, was beating down on the quarterback of the Royals. This is a must. They need to score a touchdown. You can't settle really for a field goal here. I guess you could theoretically, but I would cut it to 13. But you really want the touchdown in the 2 and make it a 1-possession game. Third and still 14 needed for the Royals. Is that middle going to be open again for ECR?
All right, snap. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Again, they stall their drives with penalties. They're moving the ball, and there's just, mental errors, and they've got to just correct that. They just have to correct it. And it's a symbol of not playing well together over time. These are basically new players and inexperienced.
Close to 20 needed here on 3rd down. Ryan running. Picks up a few. Well, you might think in terms of the field goal now because you're 4th and very long.
Yeah, they've got the kicker who can make it. I mean, there's a leg that can.
Well, I think with the numbers dictate you got to kick. Now, obviously, preferably you want to score the touchdown and make it the 2-point conversion and cut it to 8, but 13 would make it a 2-touchdown game as well. So you got to bring Asa Johnson in, and they have. But this is a challenging kick. It'll be spotted at the 26, a 36-yard attempt, and he can make it from there. He's a very good kicker.
Well, he's got the leg to do it.
Asa Johnson, a young kicker who they think is going to have a terrific career, but that's not going to get there. And that stings because the drive produces no points.
Yeah, and the kick was blocked. They rushed it with an inside linebacker. And they essentially blocked it.
Well, this hurts. And again, twice they've gotten inside the red zone and come up with nothing. Boy, they broke through in a hurry, didn't they?
As I said earlier, they got a lot of work to do with special teams. They just don't. They don't have the continuity or the working as a unit yet with special teams. And that's 1/3 of the game. I learned that from Don James.
At Washington.
At Washington, when I was scouting in the San Fernando Valley, had the opportunity of having him in my home, and when he was down here recruiting, and he taught me that there are 3 parts to a football game, and it's just not offense and defense.
Not anything there. That's pretty good defense from ECR. Tell us about Jason Zabalik, the baseball player, Croatia. What's that story?
Well, when he was at Occidental College playing baseball, one of his teammates' father worked with a lot of European baseball leagues, and Brad Marcelino was the son, and
Brad's dad with a lot of coaches in Europe, and they were looking for players for the Croatian national team.
That one's behind Butler. It'll be third down.
And Marcelino mentioned to my son that he'd be interested in what was his Croatian nationality, and because my grandparents were all from Croatia, they were able to get him, and he was one of 3 American players that were on the Croatian team, and they gave him a visa. He was there for about 6 weeks on their national team. They were vying for the Olympics. And
what position did he play?
he was a catcher. And it was a great experience for him.
Third down, 10. Incomplete. That's as good a job as ECR has done tonight. 3 and out.
Well, again, there were 3 bad passes. It wasn't that ECR did anything great. It was just that the quarterback just couldn't hit the receivers. I mean, he threw 2 into the ground and 1 overthrow. So I'm not sure what happened on that, what they were trying to do. But they didn't execute it the way they should have.
So with a minute 22 left in the third, El Camino's going to get the ball back.
Is there a penalty on this?
No, it's fourth down. Deniker Franco, a reserve linebacker, just a sophomore, limped off for ECR. So there was a stoppage for the moment. So here's a chance to get some good field position after the 3 and out. Touchdown at about the 43-yard line. So it's a short field for El Camino Real with a minute 19 left in the third.
If you remember, their drives were stalled by mistakes. They didn't execute the way they should have. The plays are viable, the plays work, but the mental mistakes are what stalled and stopped it.
Well, they can stay within their game plan because they're 2 scores behind theoretically.
Well,
they have to take advantage of this kind of field position.
They can score in a minute 19 and they still have the fourth quarter to capitalize on a ground game.
Well, the guy who's been really good has been Troy Spellman, number 3. See if they can get it in his hands. Of course, Cameron Dover. They've also brought in Vincent Serrano, a junior wide receiver, wears number 16. 4 on the flanks for Ryan Feinberg. Has a seam, has yardage. Close to a first down.
Again, if he does more of that, that's going to open up that inside game, and they'll make yardage on it. He's got to be able to get out of the pocket and make things happen.
Gain 9. It's 2nd and 1. What about Feinberg's toughness? He appears to be rugged when he goes downfield. He'll take a punch and he'll give it back.
Yes, he will. I mean, again, he's an athlete, and he knows what he has to do as a team leader to make that happen. He's like Russo, but Russo has a lot more experience than Feinberg.
Up the middle's Ermita, dragged down, but that's a first down with 30 seconds left in the third. There's Pekko again. Boy, he's good, isn't he?
He's an athlete.
Domata Pekko. And again, his dad, 15 years in the NFL. Cincinnati, Denver, Baltimore, and Arizona with the same name. He's junior. Pops was great in the league. He was an all-pro at times. Had some great years with the Ravens. Dominant defensive lineman.
Again, Calabasas is in their 3-man front, and their linebackers are playing off, so that gives the inside run between the tackles.
That's the end of the third quarter. So they'll have 12 minutes to try and erase a 16-point deficit. Not easy.
It's been known to happen.
But it can happen. That's true.
That's why they play the game, Randy.
I can quote you on that.
You can.
I will. 30-14 for Calabasas. Looking to improve to 2-2 on the season. ECR would fall to 0-4 if they don't rally. but they're not that far away. And again, we got to pound that point because they're playing up in their schedule.
They're in the game again. Mistakes are what stalled their drives. They should have 2 more touchdowns on the board. They should have, at least 28 points.
I think the most encouraging thing here is the fact that their defense got a 3 and out. So now you can stop the other guys, but you got to put this one in the end zone if they want to get that first victory of the season.
But I still don't understand why Russo threw the ball into the ground twice and one overthrow. That surprised me.
Well, it did so many things. It killed the clock. It gave ECR an opportunity to get the ball back, and so far that's flipped field position, but they got to take advantage of it. They have to score. We begin the 4th.
Look at the center of the field.
Deep one down the side. No good. Looking for the rangy wide receiver, Rafa Cortez, who's a freshman.
Yep. Again, they've got just young kids, and they're giving them a lot of experience, and they're prepping them for the future.
How many Rafas do we see? Rafa Nadal, of course, in tennis. Now we have Rafa Cortez.
Not a tennis player.
Second down and 10. Feinberg hit. Pekko's got him. Domata is dominant.
Yeah, and there was a missed block by Derbeshian. That didn't help Feinberg. Again, a junior offensive lineman.
Well, Pekko's very good. Great motor on that young man. 3rd and 11. Feinberg buying some time. There's his scrambling ability and his toughness as well. Miller got him 58 again, and he had some assistance from Ethan Clemens. We're at 4th down and 8.
Bob, number 1 is gone for the game.
That would be Butler.
15 yards from the end of the run.
Ooh, targeting?
15 yards from the end of the run. That's going to give us a 1st down.
Targeting?
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. 15-yard penalty. That's number 1, second unsportsmanlike. He's disqualified from the game.
Well, Aaron Butler's gone, and that's a prominent component of Calabasas.
This could be a real help for Elko if they can exploit this and take advantage of it and punch it in. And knowing now that Butler is gone offensively, that takes away a threat from their offense.
Exactly 11 minutes to play. El Camino in the red zone again. They need to capitalize.
Again, look at the center of the field underneath.
Feinberg, sidearm delivery. It's a good quick release. Clemens with the stop.
Rafa
that
Cortez.
Freshman receiver, Cortez. Now, this is invaluable experience for Cortez. Of course, preferably you want to score pretty quick here. You don't want to eat up the clock. You're down 16.
But the longer they keep the ball, they keep Calabasas off the field.
But they have to score the touchdown right here. Feinberg again. Inside the 10-yard line goes Ryan. See that clock? It's an ally of Calabasas.
You got to convert this. 3rd and short.
Good block from Vlad Derbeshian up front. Derbeshian's a junior, playing both ways, still learning the game.
Again, when you find out, most of these kids never played football before, and this is their first experience.
3rd and 1. Can get a first down without getting the touchdown as they're outside the 5. See if they give it to 14 or Mita. They do. He's got running room. 1st and goal, ECR.
Again, they're running inside the tackles, and that's what they have to do. They'll get 5 yards a crack.
Excellent job by Moses Rowe up front. He's a sophomore.
5'8", 180-pound offensive lineman. When did you see that last?
The 60s. See if they can punch it in. Feinberg to the air.
Where's he throwing it?
Well, he wanted Dover, but they weren't on the same page. Wanted that fade into the deep corner. Dover
ran the wrong pattern, or Feinberg read it wrong.
Either way, it's 2nd down and goal, and they need to communicate.
Yes, they do.
When you have a situation like that, do you want the 2 players talking to one another before the next play, or do you want to do that on the sideline?
Well, again, you correct it immediately. I mean, that's what they have to be able to do. They're both seniors, so they should be able to talk to each other.
Low snap. Feinberg bobbles it. He's going to pay the price. See the white shirts breaking through. 3 is Clemens. Pekko was there as well.
Again, these are mental mistakes that they're making. That you know, in game 4, these shouldn't be made.
Not Miller, some football player, 58.
He's a player.
Glad we spotlighted him on the pregame. Somebody got it, right?
You recognized it, Randy.
Oh, we've seen some film of the young man. We knew he was a load to handle.
And he is a junior, so. Middle of the field's wide open.
Feinberg to the end zone, lofting it in traffic. It's picked off. That's a big play and a turning point in the game. And Hassan with the interception. Matthew Hassan, a senior who they say is progressing, and I'll say he's come up with a very big play for Calabasas.
Well, that's a throw that Feinberg should not have made. It's you know, again, I question what he was trying to do with that. He had 2 receivers open on the left side of the field and in the center of the field, and he threw into double coverage.
3 interceptions tonight. That Calabasas secondary has come up big.
Yep, there you go. And you see two players right there, and you go, why did he throw into it?
Clemens tipped it. Hassan intercepted it. And with a 30-14 lead and less than 8 minutes left, you would think a steady diet of runs will be upcoming for Russo and the offense. And they have stopped El Camino inside the 20 3 times tonight.
Well, let's be frank. El Camino stopped themselves.
No, it's been a combination of both. Twice they've been picked off inside the 20. As Russo called his own number. Underneath the pile for ECR is Isaac Padron, another junior.
Well, they were down here when they kicked the field goal and missed it. They had those penalties that nullified the drive.
Well, they've left a lot of points off the board.
Did. I mean, when you look at it, this is what makes coaches have gray hair and no hair.
Has not been Jason Zabalik's problem. He's got a full head of hair, doesn't he?
He's working on it.
It's getting gray, though.
He's working on it. Yeah, he's getting gray because of all these mistakes.
Russo. Still stay in bounds, wants to keep that clock going.
That's what they're going to do. Calabasas will just pound it and
they'll make yardage and they'll drive it down the field. They may score if they keep it doing it.
Dorian Jefferson, a transfer, a senior from Birmingham, with the stop for Elko. Officials timeout. Player down. It's got to be frustrating. You've had your chances.
Again, you coach players to make good decisions on the field, and when they don't make those kinds of decisions, you just start wondering, well, why and what happened, and again, why did Feinberg throw into double coverage? That's what a coach is going to say, and Feinberg will have a reason. Well, I thought he was open, but when you look at the film and you start coaching up, looking at the film, and you'll see wide receivers open on the other side of the field. But under the heat of the game, you miss out. You can't see all of it.
For Calabasas, this is going to be 2 quality victories against the city section. We mentioned earlier they opened up the season with a victory over Birmingham 20-13, and it looks like they're going to get past El Camino. And if you look at the scores of the 2 games, again, Birmingham is the measuring stick. They're the barometer for the West Valley. The scores are similar. So that tells you, again, ECR is going to be, you would think, in the hunt in the West Valley.
Or they caught Birmingham early, and Coach Rose wasn't ready to.
Well, Birmingham hadn't won a game, but again, they're playing up, and they're playing some Southern Section
of
powers.
Course, yeah. Again, they always have since Croson was the coach over there.
Now Jim Rose.
Yeah, and Rose was on his staff, so they learn how to play up so that when they do get the league or they do get the city, their players are prepared, which is what Jason Sabalik is trying to do, is get his kids into the point where they know what competition is and they can play up to it.
It's Howard who's the young man that's shaken up. Devin Howard. Again, he's been stricken with a hamstring issue. So we'll bring him to the sideline. You want to get him healthy for the league play. Jason Zabalik not avoiding the big teams. Again, he's got a week off to get ready for a great Banning squad on the road, and that won't be easy in Wilmington. El Camino will be a decided underdog in that one. Then they'll come home and start the West Valley League portion of their schedule, and we'll see what happens. Going to work the clock down. Very comfortable position for Calabasas.
They should keep it on the ground, but you never know how coaches think sometimes.
It was Casey Clausen a few years ago is the one who orchestrated the upgrade in the Calabasas program. Now it's Kerry doing the job, Kerry Harris. Speaking of doing the job, that was a great tackle from the inside. It looked like it was 51 Jaden Williams, 6'2", 265-pound sophomore for ECR.
And young players.
Second down and 8. But Calabasas content to run the ball, pick up some first downs, and get home in 10 minutes and celebrate, because they're right down the street, these two schools. There's that passing game they want to try to get comfortable with. Short gain there.
You had a missed tackle on the outside. The corner just didn't come up and make the play, didn't break down and make the tackle the way he should have.
Got a defensive stop, though. It's 4th and 8. So the defense stepping up a little bit here in the late third and early fourth quarter, although it's no longer early because the clock is burning down. Spellman will drop back deep to return the punt. Calvin Conley is their punter. Again, he's one of the captains. Clock stopped with 4:38 to play. Spellman will watch this one hit on that sideline and roll inside the Royals 40. Well, now the ground game is principally out. You got to go in there and air it out.
Well, again, that middle of the field is still there and it's still open. And again, Feinberg should start to move around the pocket and give those receivers a chance to get open.
Well, line of scrimmage is the 37-yard line, so they're 63 yards away. 4:23. This is a tall order. So what's he teaching here? What's he saying to his club?
He's trying to, well, what he should be saying to him is, let's drive down the field. Let's not make any mistakes. Let's put another 7 on the board. Let's get some momentum so that we can at least try to score a second time in the time allotted. He doesn't want him to make mistakes. That's my guess. He's talking to them about that.
It's always a teaching moment. He's teaching these kids.
He is a teacher, and that's exactly what you have to do. Coaches are teachers.
Feinberg stepping up in the pocket, and he's running. Pickup of 6. But again, Calabasas will let him do that at this stage.
Exactly right. They just don't want anything big. They're going to drop back their secondary. They're going to go into a semi-prevent, and they're going to drop back their safeties and just not let anybody deep. They'll let him underneath, and they'll just keep it in front of him.
Clock is the best friend of Calabasas. And candidly, they've been in control, even though ECR has had opportunities. Feinberg pressured against the blitz, but he gets it to Bueno. That might have been the best play of the night by Feinberg because he was under the gun and he found Bueno.
Exactly right. And again, Bueno was in the middle of the field where that opening has been there all night.
Well, it's tough to stand in against that kind of pressure, isn't it?
He saw him coming and he was able to get the ball out of there.
And got the first down.
Yep.
But again, they have to score quickly.
Again, you're talking about a junior, you're talking about a young kid, didn't play very much.
Pekko pressuring and Feinberg threw it away.
At least he didn't try to throw it into double coverage. He saw it and threw it out of bounds.
Good idea to kill the clock at that point. Good to see Peffer back in. He's had to go to the sideline a couple times tonight. Not feeling well.
Well, he's been playing very hard.
Second down and 10. Flag is out. Play blown dead. Mark Milsom again will give us the call, and he's been so eloquent tonight. It's been his show. We're glad to join in.
We haven't seen much out of Cameron Dover tonight, number 4 for El Camino.
Yeah, I don't think they've gotten him the ball enough. He only has a couple short yardage catches. It's been mostly Spellman. Come on, Mark, this is as shy as you've been this night. Usually he's on that mic talking up a storm, but he wants to clarify the call. The venerable official, Mr. Mark Milsom.
5 yards. Defense. All right. Prior to snap, encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
I don't know if he even liked that call.
See, Cameron Dover should be in the middle of the field right now catching the ball. They should look at him, and he can run that skinny post inside, and it could be a touchdown if he breaks it. He's that kind of receiver. But they haven't given him that opportunity yet.
Yeah, he's got a couple touchdowns the last couple of weeks. He's been really good.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Inside screen, and Peffer forgot the football, and it was set up. Third down. They need 5 for a first down, but they need a lot more to score. They need to get in that end zone quickly. Number 6 dropped that one, but he's a good football player. He's just had a tough night physically. Been in and out of there, cramps.
Need a little more time to develop the play.
3rd and 5. 40-yard line of Calabasas. Flat is available for Spellman. He got loose. He's got a first down.
You look at the cushion that they're giving Dover on the left side. That's what opened that up. The corner was off 10 yards.
And they just threw underneath to
and
Dover
just ran down the field, down the sideline, and it opened up the flat for that.
3 minutes to play. Just want to give yourself a chance at this point, but you got to score quickly. Calabasas looking like they're going to go to 2-2. Well, Camino needs to play with a sense of urgency here.
Why is the clock running? I don't understand that. The referee held the ball.
Feinberg, the deep ball. Incomplete.
Again, the Dover, but the route, he just ran a streak route down the sideline.
Again, he's got size and athleticism. Big young man. Senior, 6'2" and 180 pounds. He's got that collegiate body. Again, he's had 2 touchdowns each of the last 2 games, but tonight he really hasn't been in that offense much. But they tried to get it to him there. 2nd down and 10. Well, they stretched the defense there. Now you think maybe come underneath?
The underneath has been there all night, and they took advantage of it twice for touchdowns and then once for that tip interception.
Delayed pitch, Ermita.
Dragging 2 tacklers with him.
Yeah, that was a good effort. Finally, Debo Wilson got him to the ground.
Rode him down.
First down, they got the yardage, but now there's that sense of urgency that I've been looking for. Got to go quickly here. Pekko's after Feinberg.
There
Dover, touchdown. Well, Feinberg with that sidearm delivery. It's 30-20, and you got to go for the 2.
Middle of the field. What did we just talk about? 4 in a skinny post in the middle of the field. It wasn't a skinny post, but he ran a post into the center.
Well, that's 5 touchdowns for Dover in 3 games.
Yeah. But again, that was there all night long.
Well, got to have the 2 to have any hope with 2:11 left. Feinberg still alive here. Up for grabs. No good. Incomplete, and the 2-point try fails.
Troy Spellman was wide open in the end zone, in the left side of the end zone.
Let's go back to the touchdown.
Again, this is right in the middle of the field. See him run? Right there.
It's good communications that time. Dover able to beat the defense. 20 points on the board, but
if you show
not making that 2-point conversion basically takes them out of the game.
But again, Feinberg didn't see Spellman in the left corner of the end zone. He was wide open. But it's hard when you're scrambling to be able to see all the open receivers.
Well, guys like Pekko and Miller beating down on him all night. So that's 3 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions, so the books are balanced. So you look at the positive, that's the touchdown passes. Now how do you get rid of those turnovers?
Coaches lose sleep over that one. Now you know they're going to go onside here. Now this one might bounce right for them. They're going to have Calabasas will have their hands team up on the front line, and they know it's coming, and all they're going to do is fall on it.
Just 2:11 left.
Unless it takes that bounce, that real funny football bounce.
Well, it's going to be kicked by Lorenzo Chavez Borelli. Now a timeout taken. Calabasas wants to make sure they have the right guys in the right spots for this onside kick.
Well, they got their hands team, so you know that they're just going to have the best receivers on the field right now.
Well, they'll get a week off, Elko, before they play Banning. Again, there'll be teachable moments from this one and the previous three. And again, even though they haven't won, I think this is a team that's going to win some games in the West Valley League.
Well, I'm hoping that that's the case because, again, they've got to eliminate those mistakes. They've got to fix their defense and special teams. If they can do that, they will be competitive. Because offensively, they'll score points. They just got to score enough.
And they got to stop the turnovers. You can't give away those. I mean, they had possessions inside the 20 where they could have made this a really interesting game.
Again, that's what I said. I think you had 14 points that should have been scored that were nullified by the interceptions. This would have been a close game.
Could have been. Very well could have been, yeah. Chavez Borelli to kick off. We know it's going to be an onside kick. Two guys back deep. The other 9 within 20 yards of the kicker. Whistles sound before the ball even went out of bounds.
It's probably offsides on the kicking team.
Well, what are the positives? What are the positives so far tonight for ECR, do you think?
Well, again, the positives that they start playing offensively as a team. They're able to start to execute, and they're doing some positive things. They're recognizing opportunities. I can't say much else for, the other side of the ball and special teams. 2 out of 3 don't win games. You need all 3 parts of the football team to play and execute, and they've got a lot to work on. Again, you can't every week give up 35 points or 40 points and expect to win. You just won't do that.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers, they gave up 45 to Cathedral, 55 to Pasadena, 49 to Harvard Westlake, and 30 more tonight.
Few teams will ever overcome that defensive effort.
Well, another onside kick coming, emanating from the 35. There it is. Convenient bounce for Calabasas, and they'll take over at their 45. And it was Brown that received it. Gagne Brown.
Again, they just fall on it. You've got they're just going to run out the clock now. You're just going to keep it on the ground. You need 2 first downs, and that's all they'll need to win the game.
And we'll be back in October with Royals football on LA36, and that'll really be exciting because that gets them into the league. And we'll have Cleveland in here, and that's a team that beat them here last year, but that's a very, very winnable game. Low snap. Russo able to get it to Miller, and Miller has first down yardage. Give him 13 in the first.
You don't expect him to get the first down on first play. So, again, it doesn't take enough time off the clock.
King Miller's not worried about that. He's a north-south guy just pounding the rock.
Turn him loose.
Yep. Those Miller twins. Now this one's coming back with a procedure.
Repeat first down. Then go back 5.
But those Miller twins, 2 for the price of 1 when the family moved to Calabasas, huh?
Yes, they did, and they've got a whole nother year to play.
Well, Kerry Harris, who was the start Notre Dame and Sherman Oaks and on to USC and played the NFL, is going to do a good job with the Calabasas program. There's no question about that. Likeable young man. And got a terrific coaching staff, as does El Camino Real. And there's tremendous respect for these two programs to one another. I think this is a game that needs to be played because they're so close. And, you know, some of the games I've talked to your son about, maybe they've overscheduled, but I think this is a game that it's good because it's a good opponent that's right down the street, and fans can go to either stadium. It's just very convenient. Could be a good rivalry down the road. It's the city against the southern section. It's got a lot of positives. Speaking of positives, that running game with the King Miller.
Statistically, he's gained a lot of yards tonight, so he's worked hard. You can tell he's tired, and he's carried the ball quite a bit. He's carried the team.
Timeout taken by the Royals.
You know, there was a time when Elko also played Chaminade.
They don't want to do that right now.
No.
Chaminade has got a terrific program with Ed Croson.
Yep. I had the opportunity of coaching with Ed at Chaminade back in the early 90s, and Rich Lawson was the head coach, and Rick Hayashida was on that staff. Fred Grimes was on that staff.
Yeah. Hayashida, of course, on the staff here at El Camino now.
And he coached my son in the city championship game back in the 90s.
El Camino won that game.
They did.
Your son was the center.
He was.
So Jason's got a championship ring.
He's got 3 as a player and about 3 as a coach. He's got 6.
Yeah, but he wants one as a head coach at El Camino. That's what he really wants.
I agree.
After the timeout, back to the ground game, and King Miller twisting and turning into the secondary. First down yardage. That's brilliance from this running back. Royals will stop the clock again, but they can't stop King Miller.
They haven't been able to do that all evening.
The King in his court tonight.
You were hoping that you'd get a chance to say his name a few times.
I like his name.
Came through.
I don't know if you had to pick out one guy for Calabasas. You know, King's been as good as anybody. He's run for 2 touchdowns, had the interception, caught a touchdown pass. I think this highlight package of King could be going on for a while.
This is what you send to D1 coaches. This is what they want to see.
He even trots off the field brilliantly. He does that well. There's one of those short touchdown dashes.
And again, that just demonstrates his athletic ability to be able to spin and move and accelerate.
That's just great blocking, and anybody could have scored on that one.
You and I could have scored on that one.
I think we could have, actually. Well, Calabasas. Coyotes are going to win it. Minute 40 to play.
I'm actually surprised the coach is keeping him in there now, and you don't want to risk having him get hurt.
And a late hit on Miller, so that's going to cost ECR yardage. That's what, to your point, you got King out there, and he took a late hit.
Knock it off.
Knock it off.
Yeah, Chris
After the
Flores
play,
was there
personal
late.
foul, defense, 15-yard penalty, results in a first down.
Hey, Mark takes no nonsense, Mark Milsom.
Well, again, those are plays that an experienced player doesn't do this. Now he's down, whistle blows, and this is unnecessary.
Yeah, for a moment there, thought he was going to get hit by Ricardo Rodriguez, 57.
But that's a senior, and seniors shouldn't make those kind of mistakes.
Well, King Miller's seen the ball a lot here.
But he shouldn't be on the field right now. The coach should put in some other people to get some playing experience and not risk getting him hurt.
Another timeout. That should be the final one for ECR.
They've got their starters are still in there.
Well, Kerry's trying to get his offense rectified, because, you know, it's been a tough situation. They've been pretty good defensively, but offensively, they have really struggled. Now, they weren't able to stop Simi Valley, but they only scored 7 against Lusinger, 7 against Simi Valley, and 13 against Birmingham. So this is the best offensive output of the year for the Coyotes, by far.
Right. But my point is that you've already got the game won. You're running your seniors and your starters, and there's a fluke chance that they can get hurt. They should just be, you know, give other kids a chance to play now.
In defensive carryover there, he doesn't have a whole lot of guys on the sideline. He's got a very short roster. But you're right. I don't think King Miller should be seeing the football this much. But he's still out there.
Yep.
Minute 22 to play. Adjust the clock now to 1:18 remaining. Little cross-buck action, and carrying the football was Arcudi, and he didn't go very far. A little misdirection, a little deceptive movement up front for Calabasas, but Elko was up to that one and can't stop it anymore. So it's inside of 1 minute to play. It'll be 3rd down and long for Calabasas, and they could not care less. They know they got this one won.
Yeah, they ought to just go into a victory set and just or get the first down if they can.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's no reason to go forward at all. And it's Miller. Who else? The King driving hard downfield. Like that. Luke Peffer with a nice stop in the deep secondary. Nice to see Luke make that hit. And King Miller's still animated out there. He picked up the yardage for the first down for the moment, stopping the clock, but they'll wind it now after they move the chains, and they don't have to snap it anymore.
No, they don't.
Well, Camino's going to fall to 0-4. Calabasas, the Coyotes, improve to 2-2, and nice job indeed by Calabasas coming into Woodland Hills and winning and really controlling the football game, although ECR did have opportunities, 3 times getting into the red zone and coming up empty-handed.
Right.
Paul Zabot, all right, give us the positive here for ECR. Spin it for me.
Well, again, as I was saying earlier, there were some very positive things offensively. They were able to get drives moving, and they were able to find openings and take advantage of it. Defensively, they had have some things to work on. There's no question about it. They've still got a lot of young kids, and they're making mental mistakes, and these mental mistakes are damaging, you know, all of the sustained drives that they've had, and special teams need work. But otherwise, they've kept the score down to 30. You know, they only lost by 10. They technically could have had 14 more.
Now here's some of the highlights. There's King Miller's touchdown in the corner. Here's Feinberg, a wonderful moment to Spellman.
Yeah, that's, again, we were looking at that all night long, and there was an opportunity for them to make that play.
Aaron Butler running that one in from short yardage. Calabasas, for the most part, did control the line of scrimmage. When you look at these runs, you know, they're blocking up front. There's King Miller bouncing it out to the cone and getting in. Here's, again, that Miller open. And that was a highlight, a big highlight for Spellman in the offense. But again, look, watch King Miller walk in. There's nobody in his area code.
But again, its athletic ability is just something that just shines.
Interception there, 1 of 3. That was Hassan's pick. Paul, I hope you enjoyed it tonight.
I loved it, and I thank you for the opportunity, Randy. It was a lot of fun.
You're always welcome.
It was a lot of fun.
You are always welcome, Paul Zabalik on LA36.
Let's not take another 34 years.
I hope we have 34 years.
That would be nice.
For Paul Zabalik and our entire LA36 crew, they did a great job tonight. You can see that they got good pictures here tonight. Happy moments for Calabasas, 30-20 over ECR. For everybody in Woodland Hills, have a great night. We'll see you next time on Royals Football. Good night, everybody.